Good day, everyone. Richard here from Ola Prime, and welcome to the opening bell. Joining me today, we got
Hello, everyone.
Igor. There are only two of us today in the session. Hope you enjoy it. As always, you got any questions, please drop it there in the chat box, and we'll be happy to answer that for you. Right, I had a quick squiz at the economic calendar. Not really anything that's popping up that's high impact from my side, so I don't think we'll just skip that starting things off. So maybe Igor, if you want to take the lead there and show us what you got.
Yes, let me start from the economic calendar today, which is a little bit important, and I will just describe some clues that I have from this calendar. So today, I think the biggest news was CPA for the British pound. Actually, we can see that any single report related to the inflation in the last 30 days were higher than expected. Not just for the British pound. I saw that even for the US, then for Aussie, Kiwi, or major currencies. Some reports were a little bit worse, some better. But what we can see is that first, fundamentally, just to understand what's happened here, this tariff war that we have just between US and the rest of the world will usually produce something that we traders need to a little bit think about that, even if it's not so important. But that tariff war that we have right now, a lot of companies cannot sell their products or services, actually products, in the United States. And because of that, we have a little problem. And in US, other companies now losing competition, and they can increase the price in everything. So inflation will go up. In other countries, other companies, they cannot sell anymore on the US. They have a little bit loss, and now they're trying to accomplish that. So we have a little bit inflation in the whole world. And that is important, not just because of the major currency pairs. It's important for gold, if you trade gold, for example, because we know that the gold is a hedge for inflation, and we have a rising inflation in the world, then the gold will go higher. So all this stuff can be very, very important here. And I just wanted to share that with you, just to think a little bit about fundamentals and maybe what can bring us the next weeks and months. And now I will just go to the chart and show and talk a little bit about my trade from the yesterday, and then talk about what's happened in the market and what we can do to make something interesting here, maybe some good trade or something. First, the first thing that I have, so I took one trade. Later, I will show that and maybe talk a little bit more about that. I took one trade just before this drop in British pound dollar, especially. However, this drop wasn't everywhere. But let me start from the beginning, because I don't want to rush today. I want to step by step to talking about everything. So first, I will add relative strength index indicator on the chart. I will add that on the chart so we can analyze the market in the best way. Now, what I want to start from is yesterday. You remembered I took a trade yesterday, and that trade was around level 1.336. And I will just try to show what's happened yesterday a little bit more. Maybe 30 minutes is better chart for that, so we can see exactly what's happened there. So it was, I think, it was this period of time, actually, when we had a huge drop, and then we start to go up. I think just to see. Yes, it was something like this. This is the moment when I enter into the trade. So the reason when I enter into the trade was that we had a bearish bias. So I will repeat and show again on the chart, because I need to use the clues that I had in that time. So the bias was bearish and the volume decreased. And it is usually the sign that we can go down.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, these 1, 2 candles, these bullish free candles yesterday, it looks like we are going up, and of course from this picture right now it looks clear. But in that moment, it was nothing. My bearish bias on the relative strength index was active. But what's happened then? We started to go, as you can see, 1 or 2 hours after our session, we started to
Mm-hmm.
go a little bit down and everything was fine. And I was sure that that trade will be a positive trade. But something happened just, I think it was uh, maybe 3 hours before the end of the day. We had really big push up to 1.338. In that moment, when I saw that, and I saw that my relative strength index trend line will be broken and everything, I closed my trade with a 10 pips loss. And there was no problem there with a loss. I just wonder what's happened here. So volume is so low, and we're going little bit by little bit higher and higher. And what's happened is in the end of the US session, we reach almost 1.34. Of course, I went to sleep. During the Asia session, you see this break of the resistance and the price starting to go up. And we were around the 1 point, I think 1.343 in the moment when I start to look the market during the Frankfurt Open and the UK Open. But what's happened then? As you saw, um, we had a CPA and we had a positive news. So I knew that there is a high probability that this news will be good for British pound. On the other side, US dollar index was very bad, just a sharp down like from the cliff. And there's no news for US dollar, only for British pound. And what's happened then? We made a strong push to 1.336, 335. Then we backed down during the CPA. And then what I did, I wait about 10, 15 minutes. I create one scalping trade. So what I did, I wait price to pass a few minutes after CPA. The price went 25 pips up, then 25 pips down. I wait and I see how volume increase, how institutional traders make more buy trades in that moment. I see few minutes we are going steady upside, and I enter into the trade. And I hit almost 1.346 then and closed the trade because it was a scalping trade. I didn't want to catch because why I did that? This is very important. This is something that Richard doing all the time, and a lot of traders doing all the time. You can play and keep your trade if opening range is finished. You have nice price level, you can keep it, no problem. But during the UK opening range, always we can see price manipulation
Yeah.
in any direction. And I didn't want to watch that. And looks what's happened during that time. So this first red candle that I'm showing right now on the chart, that was beginning of the UK Open. And then we had about 2 hours, first 2 hours, just went down. We went down and it was really about 70 pips down, which was really, really insane. It's a really big push down because usually UK opening range, you will make a quarter daily average range, something like that, 20 pips, 25 pips, 15 pips. This is manipulation. But this kind of push down, it was very, very bad. However, I spot something interesting on the chart. I will show you that. If we go from the lowest low point of this week and start to draw a trend line, look what's happened. we started here at just when we had 1.325. We went up, we went down. Now we have a 2 dots. Then today we reach a new high. Then we have a new 3rd dot. So now we have a 3 dots that we connected with the trend line on relative strength index indicator. And can you imagine to the pip? So we just touch the trend line and start to go up. That price that we did that was priced at 1.339. So now I have a bias for today. So my bias is bullish. I have a trade. Just when I finished with the trading view, I will show that my trade again just to see it, and you will realize that I have now bullish bearish invalidation point. My bullish bearish invalidation point is around 1.338 to 1.339 area, just below this lowest low. Actually, when this the last dot we have from the trend line. So if we break this trend line, I'm out. I'm bearish. I'm not bullish anymore. However, market right now looks it's going up. It's really going up, which is beautiful because not just because I'm in the trade, it's beautiful because based on the technical analysis for today, we reach last few years high. Then we make one pullback, healthy pullback of 60, 70 pips. And now we continue. And because of this healthy pullback, I can expect maybe new high today, maybe 1.35. We don't know, but it's beautiful because right now the relative strength index is around 55 level. So there is a lot of room that we can get and maybe find a new high. So these levels right now, for me, from my perspective, are excellent for buying, just because we can have a good risk reward ratio and we have a bullish momentum. The only thing that maybe it's not perfect is that in next 30 minutes is the US opening range. So if you are a trader and you watch this session right now, one of the strategies can be to wait opening range, to see price manipulation downside. If you see level 1.3420, 1.3415 or something like that, maybe to enter into trade, and then you can have a risk reward ratio 1 to 3, 1 to 4 or something like that. So this is the strategy for this opening range for myself. And now what I will show you is the euro dollar, because
sorry, Igor, just a quick question from my side.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yeah, please.
That indicator you got there is a support and resistance break and retest indicator. What does the volume number in there actually mean?
Okay, yes, I will just show on the futures right now, because the volume in that case will be much better. So this indicator works as similar as if you have delta volume profile for the market. Just calculates for this price level only where is the resistance. And I use it more because sometimes I watch the volume profile, and that volume profile is for every single price level that we can find on the chart. And in this way, I can concentrate and watch only important support and resistance and the volume profile from them. And what traders can use, which can be very, very good, is that when you watch this support and resistance, you can in the same time see which support and which resistance is more important. For example, this volume is 760, huge volume. It's a very, very big volume here. And that means that this support is very strong. So
and that's on the futures, right?
Yes, this is on the futures right now.
Okay.
I just switch my chart. You can see that volume are much accurate on the futures market than on the Forex market, because in Forex market we don't have real volumes. Here are very good. And what is the good thing is, as you remember, this is the beautiful example. As you remember, we had last 3 weeks 1.336 level, was so important level. So several times it was the resistance, several times it was the support. So big level. And look, the volume is 1,425. And you can see how this level is big and important right now. And this is the good thing if traders use these indicators that make combination not just of price levels, just get and volume too. And in that case, but if someone use volume profiles, they're very, very similar and the same. But in volume profiles have the better thing that you can see that is a low volume profile areas. So you know that it will be either a rejection of the price, either price will fall like from the cliff very fast. So so it's very good to use the volume in trading. So any trader that watch this session right now, you can use the name of this free indicator is the breaks and retest from the chart prime. Actually, I create myself version. I changed a little bit the formula for the volume, and I can play with that. If you want to do that, for example, you can go to the script. You can copy the whole text around this script, and then you can ask ChatGPT to give you suggestion what we can do that volume be better, for example. And ChatGPT will give you a few clues, and then you can pick from them what you want. And it will change a couple lines of the code, and then you can have your own code for this and enjoy if you like that. So it's a beautiful today because you don't need to be a programmer, and you can get beautiful code without any knowledge, just using the ChatGPT. So this is the related for that. So I'm just back to the euro dollar. Richard, if you have anything important, just tell me. I will stop and you can show your charts if you
I will
have
let you
any.
know, Igor.
No
I'm still
problem.
good
No
this
problem.
side.
No problem. So about euro dollar, the euro dollar is, as you know, my definition is a little bit boring, and I will show you this. This is the perfect example why. The good thing for euro dollar is when you find a low and you enter into the trade, you can keep that trade usually as a swing trade and enjoying that. For example, if you enter into the trade yesterday afternoon at price level 1.1234, you can see just bullish without any bearish flag. So it's going straight, no problem. And sometimes when I trade British pound dollar, I always look euro dollar. And if I see that euro dollar is just going up and going up without any lags, I know my bias is still bullish and I can re-enter and play with British pound dollar. So euro dollar is beautiful for that. But this is the one beautiful example about euro dollar. Look, this is the European session, and this is the opening range of the UK Open. We had a down session there, but look, we fell from 1.1332 to 1. Just to see. Yes, so we fell 15 pips. So the move down was 15 pips, and for British pound dollar 70 pips. So huge difference. And you can see the euro dollar will not give you the chance, usually, sometimes will, but usually not give you the chance to re-enter into good price level like British pound dollar. However, when you enter into euro dollar, you can make a break-even trade. You don't need to bother because usually price will not fluctuate so fast, up, down, up, down, up, down. So this is the difference. And so sometimes if you have your job and you cannot monitor your charts and you don't have a time for that, maybe better thing is to go to the euro with the euro dollar, because euro dollar will keep that trend whole day without small lags, and you don't need to check the charts. But with British pound dollar, you really need to check the charts because it's so volatile and can make you a lot of problems. So as you can see, the same set of the euro dollar, we're pushing higher right now. This bearish push was really small. Now we are pushing up as same as I talk with the British pound dollar. So this is the thing that I wanted to share with you. And later I will talk a little bit more about other assets. And now,
Okay.
just very fast, I will just show you the trade and a little bit discussion about trade that I made today. But even I already talk about that. Just to stop my screen and switch to the chart. This is the trading platform. I hope that you see very soon. Yes, you're seeing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coming up.
So I will just find my position trade, my positions. No, there's no position here. Something happened here. I don't know. I didn't reach my target. However, what I want to say, if I don't have position and there is no manipulation in the first 6 minutes, just to see a little bit more right now what's happened with the British pound dollar. Just a moment. Yes, we have some few pips down up, but we're keeping straight. So right now I can create one longer trade just to show you how even this level is okay. Even I can get maybe a little bit better level. I will make a buy order. And what I will do here, I will make a stop loss to the 338 and my take profit to 3.5 level. So it will be almost 1-to-1, a little bit better. And I can really enjoy in this trade because I know that the market today break ultimate high. We reached the new high. We're pushing higher there, and now for the first day, you can barely see that the market just start to go bearish again, because if the market wants that, then it will be the V shape here. It will be the V shape. Here will be V shape, not like this push right now that we have. Let me just show that on this chart. So if the market wanted to make a V shape, because this is a new fresh high, it will just go down and finish 50, 100 pips down. But now when we make a pullback and now we're pushing higher, there is a small chance that we will go down. There is a bigger chance that we will achieve the new high. So this is the my trade right now, and I hope that we will reach the new highs, of course, here. And I will watch closely my trade. And if we make a little bit pull back down, maybe I will add a little bit more to this trade, but very small, maybe 0.2% or 0.3% of my risk tolerance. So it's very important that I think that we will go up. And just one small tip: if we start to reach 1.35 and go up, it's good a little bit to monitor your target and monitor to the end of this day. If we see exhaustion and the price reach some higher level and stay there, we can close our trade earlier, just because uh, it's not smart to wait, because if we don't reach some new high levels or maybe 1.35, the next day it's healthy to make another pullback. So we want to avoid any pullbacks and just to close the trade in a higher price. So this is the trade for today. And one of the trades that I wanted to make, and I have an opportunity for that, is the US dollar Japanese yen. So live, I can make this trade just now, because we really have a good opportunity today for that. I will just show the trade. Yes. So right now on the 30-minute chart, we have a little bit push higher here for US dollar Japanese yen. And what I want to do is just to go to the 4-hour. I waited for this little bit push higher. As you can see on 4-hour chart, we are really going down. And actually, I need to push a little bit higher to enter in this trade, because the level still is not the most beautiful. Just to see a little bit. Yes, yes. Okay, this is the trade that I will make is more positional trade. Is more positional trade either than swing trade, because I want to target one level which is really, really far away. And I will just go to the weekly chart, actually to the monthly chart.
Wow. So are you going short there?
Yes, I want to short that.
Yeah.
So if you see the chart right now, we had two. This is like a double top.
Yeah.
We a little bit go
Impact.
higher, but the US dollar is a bad shape. Japanese yen is stronger and stronger, and I see that we will have maybe kind of the inflation reports. We see really, really good reports for the inflation in Japan, and believe or not, I want to see maybe to the 105 level. So it's a big move.
Wow.
I want to see. This is the multi-month trade, and I will risk. Yes, now it's a little bit
So
starting
that
again.
140 level's already been tested 3 times. So you're on a fourth return. There's a good probability that it will break out down.
Yes, I think so. And the biggest thing that I monitor right now is that we have really yen strength, and like I said, this is the more fundamental trade
Mm.
than any kind of the price action trade, because I figure out that Japanese government, Japanese bank, will increase interest rate in every single 3 months from now, and every single country in the world trying to decrease interest rate, and US and UK and everyone. So we have the country they're trying to increase interest rate, and other countries decrease every single month, and is talking about that. And because of that, I believe that we can get much better, some kind of the much better push downside. So I will put my stop loss to 150 level, and my take profit is 105. Of course, I will change that during the time, but what I'm risking $400 to achieve almost $3,000. So this is the really slow burning trade, and I want to keep this trade just to show you how that looks like. In my life, I had a couple of that trades which were very well, but this is unique opportunity, just to tell traders, because the whole world, everyone, every single bank increase and decrease the interest rate like all other banks around the world. But Japanese bank is completely different. So now when every single country decrease interest rate, they will start to increase. And that need just based of the product, goods, export, import, the whole exchange world. I think this need to create something huge, and I would like to see this push downside. But of course, this trade can be very easily to go, one more time to do 160 and goes down. So it can happen everything. But I think that right now we have a good levels, and I waited to see the new high for British pound dollar. I waited to see the new highs for euro dollar. I waited to see that US dollar index on weekly chart starting to go down. And when I saw that, I saw the opportunity, because now every single week we can see now some push downside. And of course, we will see that. I don't want to talk a lot of this trade. I will discuss during the days and weeks, because I think that this trade will be present there, and I hope that I will have some luck with this trade.
Nice.
So I will just stop my screen just for you, Richard, and then I
Okay.
will continue later to talk more.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so on the screen there, you're looking at the WTI crude oil. Yesterday, actually during yesterday's session, I was waiting for a break of these lows that occurred during yesterday's pre-market and then during yesterday's sort of afternoon session. Now we had a nice little flush of those lows, and typically I wait for what's called a liquidity sweep at those lows, meaning that I want price to take them out and then reverse to the upside. Now there was a little bit of a bump upwards, and then we closed the session and price actually tested those lows once more, and then there was this huge strong move to the upside. Now, unfortunately, that didn't occur during my 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. time window. That's generally the 2 hours that I put aside each day to trade these markets. So I trade the NASDAQ, S&P 500, as well as crude oil. So unfortunately, missed this one. It was quite late in the afternoon here. But that being said, we had a very strong move back upwards, and we started drifting lower again. Even during the pre-market session, we had the current high of the session around about, what's this? Let me just quickly look. Around about 63-ish. And then yesterday we had a lower high around about the same level. Now, if price was not where it is right now and moved up, broke those highs, and then moved lower, I would switch to 1 minute time frame, assuming that you might get a liquidity sweep above these highs, actually lower highs to be in fact. But that being said, price has now taken out the pre-market session low, which is around 62.30. So the price is hovering around that low. If we scroll a bit backwards, you can see that during this range yesterday, you see this black line that we see there, we also had a higher low, a higher high, around about that same level. So price sort of pulled back into yesterday's range, and this might be an area of interest for me if I want to take a long. So if I were to go long here, I'll switch to my 1 minute time frame. I'll do that now here on crude oil. I would need to start seeing support come in very soon and move back up. And you can clearly see currently during this decline prior to price reaching that level that I've just talked about, clearly lower lows, lower highs, right? Price structure of a downtrend, although it's a very short-term downtrend. Should price now move up after breaking those lows and breaks this previous structure point, we could have a change in behavior, as some people call it, or a break in structure, which could also signal that we might be dealing with a potential early stage of a reversal. All right, so we are getting a strong move up there as I'm talking here in real time. So this already for me is quite interesting. Again, I'm already here on the 1 minute time frame. Price has broken above a previous structure point. Again, from this downtrend to the downside, let me just make that a different color. Let's make it green. It stands out nicely. So the next step is this current candle might be the second candle of a fair value gap. For those that do not know what fair value gaps are, it's basically a 3 candlestick formation like that occurred over here. We have one candle, long range candle, and a third candle. Now, in the bullish version of a fair value gap, there's a gap that occurs between the high of the first candle and the low of the second candle, giving you a fair value gap. Now, often they get tested and they can act as support and resistance. All right, so this I would use as a trade entry location. We've got around about 36 seconds left on this current 1 minute candle. And if price continues higher, it might even come a little bit lower. There will be a gap. Potentially, price might, within 20 seconds, reverse all the way lower again. Maybe this fair value gap will become a little bit smaller. But my idea is, since price broke the level, broke previous price structure point, we're getting a little push higher, that I'll be willing to pretty much go long on crude oil. And if I were to place a stop, I don't know where my stop loss is at the moment. we'll probably be using something like this. And I just want to increase my volume here a little bit. Right. So price will come back. I don't know if you can see it on the side here, and test the upper area of that fair value gap. Then I'll be interested in going long. That makes sense. All right. So I'm going to be using a market order here. Don't want to miss this trade. Should price actually make its way back into that fair value gap? Obviously, with CFDs, we're also sitting with a bit of a spread. So I might not get into the exact level that I want to until we start trading futures here at Hola Prime. So should price reverse lower, I'm only sitting with an $81 risk on this trade. So I'm assuming that after price took out that level, price structure break, fair value gap already formed, nice strong push upwards, that we might get a continuation upwards, potentially a move higher for the remainder of the day. So that's the idea. And hopefully we can get a test of that area. Can you actually see on the side here, Igor?
Yes.
Hopefully this doesn't run away from me. But anyway,
Richard,
we got about a 5 pip spread there.
Just one question for you, about your experience with this. When you have a gap in the price for S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, whatever index you trade, and so we have the lower gap that formed any US Open. Do you have some special strategy for that? Do you have some experience? What's happened usually with price with that gaps? Anything new for your strategy in that case?
Not specifically, because I mean, there's been a lot of weeks where we could start between the Sunday session or the close of the Friday session and the Monday session, or even the Sunday session, when the futures markets resume, that you're sitting with quite a large gap. Now, recently, with its very strong push up the NASDAQ, the ES as well, those gaps have not been filled yet. And we're talking about gaps, I think, that occurred beginning of last week. Eventually, these gaps will be filled. Sometimes they are filled on, I think there's a high probability that they will be filled. And since they're lower than where the price currently trading on the NASDAQ and the ES, you know, if price continues low, we are dealing with a little bit of a decline, but it's nothing major on the ES and NASDAQ. I'm pretty sure those gaps will eventually be closed. I've seen a lot of times that if you have a gap, let's say during a pre-market session, so on the day, and price moves towards them, that they actually get filled, and then you can actually use that as part of your strategy as well. If you don't have a level, for example, like in my situation where I want a level to be taken out, but you get a gap fill, yes, then a reversal from the gap fill, break a price structure, same sort of routine that I follow, but not using a gap in that instance, then those gaps can quite often act as support and resistance as well. Excellent. If that makes sense, Igor.
Yes, of course. I just watched the indices, so I
just want a little bit more deeper pull down here. Don't know if I'm going to get it. I just want to switch to 1 minute on this chart here. So that fair value gap sitting over here. This is my order book. As you can see with the spread, I don't want to enter up here. I want a bit of a deeper pullback into that fair value gap. And then I'll potentially go long.
Nice.
But, you know, sometimes you wait and then the market just shoots up, you know, and you miss it. So sometimes it's better just getting it with a market order, and sometimes it's not, you know, you never know.
Yes.
It's only after the fact that you will know. All right, so yeah, it's not pulling back just yet. So maybe I get lucky. Not to say the trade will work out, right? So it's just that I want a little bit of a better fill level-wise. And it's sometimes all about patience, guys. Don't just go and chase things. The better price I get, the higher my potential reward might be, right? The tighter my stop might be, if that makes sense. if you get in a price or just market order, and I can currently see that market order will get me in at about 62.46. So that's 5 ticks or pips above the current price action. Now, if that happens, price might muck around a little bit before it actually takes it out. And now it doesn't take that level out that you were filled at. And then you start getting all of these emotional, sort of, am I on the right side of things, Trading can be for me at least, very visual. I like to fine tune and be like a sniper and get in at the areas I want to get in at. But it comes at an expense sometimes that you miss an entry. But let's see. Might not get that move lower. Just have to be a bit more patient here.
Yes, we're watching last 5 minutes of the US market open, and I see that and index is pushing higher, and these last 10 minutes other major currency pairs against US dollar pushing higher, which is good, which is really good. So we maybe reach new highs today. We have enough room, really enough room.
Yeah, I think the better thing to do here today is to try and go long with the market order. Again, I'm just going to cancel this window again, start that process again. Just going to drag that stop loss or target area out of the way. If I do get filled where I want to get filled, I'll then position my target order appropriately. Right, so a bit of a waiting game here currently, guys. In the meantime, James says hi. How are you doing, James?
James, if you have some setup, please share with us.
Yeah, if you want anything that we can get our eyes on, that you're interested in having us analyze, please let us know.
Yes. Meanwhile, while we waiting, Richard, do you want to tie
maybe let's switch over to your screen there, if you don't mind, and then if I do take the trade, I'll let you guys know. It's no use watching the screen.
Please just interrupt me. Yes, if you see anything nice, please interrupt me to show you.
Yeah, sure thing. I'm adding you to the stage. There we go.
Okay, excellent. So right now I'm watching US dollar index on weekly chart. So this is something that Howard on Friday, he noticed that on the weekly chart that this week on Friday was a little bit higher, which means that the next week can be bearish. And his projection using the Elliott waves and using these wicks was very, very good. And as we can see right now, today and from the yesterday, we really have a bearish US dollar market. And one good thing is this bearish candle on weekly chart is almost as these two candles last week. So this bearish push is really huge. And another good thing is that we are below the 100 psychological level for US dollar, which means that really we can go lower and lower. For the traders that didn't talk a lot, I'm watching this trend line on the chart. This is the trend line just from the 2011 and 2008. So it's a long-term trend line. It holds, as you can see. We tried to touch a couple times, and maybe, just maybe, I don't know what will happen, but maybe we can reach that this year. And I think it will be beautiful support for US dollar index, and then US dollar index can go again upside and make a huge push. So it will be very interesting to happen. Actually, from my standpoint of view, I don't like weak dollar because from all salaries that I have, I always receive salary in US dollars. So when US dollar is going down, I know that um, I will I will take cut of my salary. So it's not it's not a beautiful thing for me, and I think for the rest of the world, because all people that work around the globe, a lot of them receive money in US dollars, and
Yeah.
this can be, 5-10% you can lose just because of the market. So it's not good. However, what I'm looking right now is the good thing is that we had UK market open, and as you can see, during the US market open, we had first a bearish manipulation, and then in the last 15 minutes we had a push, and now we continue upside. So as same as I talk always, we always have some opportunity to enter short or long during the US opening range or UK opening range. So for the traders who were today during this US opening range, you could enter from the level 1.3423, for example. Right now we are around 1.343, which is a decent level, but I hope that when we break this, I will just draw this horizontal line here. That will be very soon, I hope, in this hour. When we break this line, then we go to the next target, 1.346, and maybe to achieve the new high, the new maybe ultimate high for last several years. Because if you see, the highest price last year was 1.344, and now we are on the highest price for the last several years. Just to say that, and we're really in the strong resistance zone, and I hope that we can see the new highs. But it's everything depends of the US dollar index, because the US dollar index needs to go down that everything of this happen. And I will watch that very strictly. The euro dollar, the same thing. The good thing is that we have we keep this price level without any interruption down. Last 2 hours were bullish, and we are I hope continue to go bullish. Just to show about something interesting about the British pound dollar, when we reach this down move today, 70 pips down, and the moment when I make some entries here at a level 1.341, um, I noticed that after that we had 1, 2, 3, 4 bullish candles, but every single bullish candle touched 1.341115 level. So what's good thing is each trader can catch that low every single hour. 4 hours in a row, you could catch the good price level if you want to buy. So this is really something um, most precious related to the British pound dollar. Related to the US dollar Japanese yen, I show you my trade. Of course, I trade a little bit using the weekly chart. I want to see in next several weeks a huge down move to 105. You can see my trade. So it's a really trade for the several months, and I hope that we will reach that low. It looks nothing special now, because the the important price level that we need to break is this, around 139.5. When we break that level, there is an empty space here, and that can be really good, one of the biggest trades ever. So one asset that I didn't comment, and it's important, is it's gold. Related to the gold, today, if you want to trade a gold, I want just to check this trend line, relative strength index indicator. I drew this trend line, and as you can see right now, we can say we are bullish, because we we broke important resistance level at 3,257. We went up. We are really high right now. This is not the ultimate high, but we are last 2 days in some bullish bias. But the problem right now is that maybe we want to retest this trend line. So we are very close. So I think that there is a potential for more downside, and then I think something will change. I think that we will not no broke down, we can go up. But first we need to push downside and then up. So this is the my setup for gold. Uh, just uh, just to see to this is the smiley. I just wanted to find a draw tool here for that, but next time I think that you see just down move here and up after that, but it's a little bit tricky to find the level. So it depending on the momentum here. So maybe we'll have a few hours of down move. Maybe tomorrow we will reach this trend line. I don't know really. However, based on the right now moves, there is a probability that the next 2 hours we reach the low and then we go higher. But it's open. But I just want to tell traders maybe it's not the best place to go long right now. Maybe we need to wait a little bit. As you can see, I will just show you on 1 hour chart. Last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours we are bearish. Last 5 hours. So I think we need a little bit pull back down before anything else. And now something that a lot of traders like to trade. We have our expert Paul, who really are expert in crypto and analyze the crypto market from so many angles. I hope that you will monitor his session and his short YouTube videos on Holoprime X. But the most important thing related to the Bitcoin, I just monitor this. This move here is created more by the weak US dollar. So this move that we have last several hours is depending of that. As you know, Bitcoin is correlated with the indices. So we need a push on indices today. If we accomplish that, we can see really the new highs here, and this can be really good. One of the important things is that we are very close to the ultimate high on the daily chart. You can see that right now, and this price I think can be broken maybe today, and we can reach the new highs too. So this is a tricky moment. A lot of traders like to sell on resistance. Some traders are ready to buy on resistance, and this is the there's no bearish momentum here. I would just go daily chart. There's no bearish divergence at all. However, we have some kind of the little exhaustion on the 30-minute chart, but we are still bullish. As you can see, the trend line is bullish. So this can be very interesting for me. This can be really interesting for me. Maybe during this session, we can reach the new high if markets decide that. So you can monitor this. If you see some stronger push upside, this can be the trade of the day, because usually when Bitcoin broke the resistance and broke the previous high, then the new high needs to be made, and in that moment price can go very fast in some with a bullish potential. So I hope that if there is any Bitcoin trader that you can exploit this. But of course, right now, without any stronger push, it's not time to enter right now in this trade, even that we break several times this resistance zone here. The trade that I'm watching that can be interesting for someone is a EURUSD. And the EURUSD, I will just show first the daily chart. What's happened here is this trade right now on the daily chart is in some kind. Let me just show you this. Yes. So you can see we were in the bearish move for EuroCAD. That means that this bearish move is not because of the euro; it's because the CAD had a couple very good fundamental data lately, and after that we can see a push higher here. However, if we break this trend line, this can be interesting, really interesting. So I just want to monitor this today, what's happened, and if we see that break, that can be maybe a stronger push upside. But the problem here is, like I said, the CAD, which was a little bit stronger last days, and now we have this situation. This is not the best combination of strong weak currency, because in one moment the both currency were strong, and now it's a battle. But interesting point of view, because we are above the resistance, and maybe we can reach some new highs. I mean, just a little bit. Yes, you can see there are multiple zones here, support and resistance zones, and we are struggling a little bit. But if we break this and close a new high, that can be pushed upside, and that can be interesting, really. But depending, of course, and from the CAD and from euro. So I hope that you need to monitor that and enjoying that. And what I'm watching right now, because of the several currencies, is the S&P 500 index. As let me just show a 30-minute chart, which is interesting because we can draw a 30 minutes trend line or relative strength index. Right now, it looks a little bit bearish. From the May 19, it started to go a little bit down. But the good thing is that if we break this trend line of 30-minute chart, we can get new highs, and that's interesting for me. So I monitor the price right now for the S&P 500. I had a trade, believe it or not, from the 1 month ago, at one account. I keep it because, as you remember, we got 25% drawdown for the indices. In one moment I catch one very big low, and I still keep that trade. So I would like to see what can be that be my longest trade, because they're about in every 3-4 years that amount of the drawdown of the indices. And when you exploit that and make an enter there, when at very good level, that means that you can keep that trade forever if you want. So I know that for a lot of traders it's a little bit very strange thing, but look this. I just want to show you this. This is the daily chart for the S&P 500. So we I can go to the weekly. Maybe it's better look that you can see. So look, we got a huge bearish run in 2022, and then in 2025. And as you can see, we didn't reach the the low of 2022. So the biggest push down just went us to the highest point in 2022, as you see. So if you catch any low in indices, which is more than 25%, and you touch that low, you can keep forever, because monitoring from 1920 or 1918, it's more than 100 years of the S&P 500. You can see that if you catch 25% move down, you can keep that trade forever, because there's no the big push down in market. Even if we go, for example, in 2008, which was a huge crisis, you can see that that move is a little bit similar to this move that we got here. Look, it's not so big move. So 25% the most, and not more than that. And I think that this is the really good catch who can enter in these positions here. So I hope that in this index market will go up, which can bring the Bitcoin up, and then everything will be correlated. Yes. So
Igor, a quick update from my side, if you don't mind.
Yes, please. I just want to see it.
So the crude oil trade, luckily I was fumbling around. It would not have worked out. I was waiting for price to come in here, and then boom, this is a 1 minute time frame, so it happened really quickly. Price actually penetrated below that fair value gap, and at that stage it was not a good sign. So sometimes watching price action, waiting for those areas and see how price react is a good thing. Today my behind was saved a little bit because I was messing around with the orders, and luckily didn't take that. So that being said, if I quickly go here to the S&P 500, while price is doing its thing here, I'll explain what those lines are. We've had price break above two little highs or clusters of highs. These were actually lower highs. This was a higher low, actually confirmed when price broke above it. That occurred during the pre-market session. Now, the pre-market high range of the day thus far was around about 5,930. You see price just ticked that, and we start seeing a movement lower. Again, following the same procedure this time, just for trying to attempt to take a short. I got to go to a smaller time frame, and I would like to see where's my closest point of structure. In this case, an uptrend, high highs, high lows. High breaks at level, price moves lower again. Where's my last clear high low? Was around about 5916 plus minus. Okay, this is this red line that I've just drawn in here. So if price were to break that, we're already sitting with a fair value gap here. But I won't trade that fair value gap. It's just because price did not take out that price structure break low yet. So if price does take that out, then I'll be interested in taking a short. Again, this case, price already tested that fair value gap, but price will then need to move back up again should it break that price structure point. Use that as a trade entry location, and then hopefully price continues lower. Now, since this gap has been tested actually 1, 2, 3 times, if price continues lower and it breaks this price structure point and we get another fair value gap that's potentially slightly lower. Whoops, what am I doing here? Something like that, then I can use that as my trade entry location, if that makes sense. Obviously, there's no such thing at the moment just yet. Price does not break that price structure point, sort of a bit of a double bottom formation there. But if we do go a little bit higher, price breaks that, then that can also look for a lot like a potential little head and shoulders type of pattern, right? Which is also typically a reversal type pattern. So until price breaks that level, there's not much to do on my side. I really need to see that happen first. Okay. So a bit of lucky there on crude oil. One thing I did forget to mention is in 15 minutes time, or at 10:30, we do have crude oil inventory. So that's almost like, non-farm payrolls or CPI numbers for crude oil. Things can get quite volatile at that stage. So maybe if we do get a strong reversal upwards after that news release, it's already only 15 minutes left on today's session once that data comes out. If everything falls in place, then I might take a long there. Alternatively, price might just reverse lower from here and keep going down for the rest of the day. We'll just have to wait and see. Right, sorry, Igor, I just had to quickly update what's happening.
No problem. I just
Another trade opportunity around the corner.
No,
Again,
nothing
if it sets
there.
up, we can switch back to you if you still want
Of
to
course.
maybe talk about what you got there.
Yes, yes. I just want to use this time to see the levels, institutional levels that I'm collecting using statistics. So which level that we can reach for each currency pair, and I'm watching that just to collect one one more. I'm just collecting from the charts, and now we will go there. I will share my screen.
Okay.
Uh, just a moment. We are on the right now on the British pound dollar. We have some
There you go.
another push. We have some another push down again. But like I said, first I saw the James. James, is that the RSI you are using? Yes, yes. I using a typical RSI, nothing special. Period 14. Everything as default. I didn't change nothing in the indicator. What I'm using usually, I'm drawing trend lines and relative index indicator, which give me a bias, which give me when price can go. For example, for the British pound dollar right now, as you can see, I have a three dots because I have a low from the May 16. I have a low from the yesterday, and I have a low from today when we created a very strong down move. And now we have these three dots, and we are keeping a bullish bias. So if we start to go below 1.339, I'm out of the trade and I'm not bullish anymore. However, because we reached today the highest high, and the US dollar is weak, I hope that we can go higher and higher, and that we accomplish something in that way. So I just want to show right now some important levels. I talk on weekly chart. I talk about various price levels, but I didn't talk about the next level. So what is the next level here? I will just show you some level here, just to find a horizontal line for the US dollar. There is a one line, and that line is here, which is institutional level. Uh, and I think that this is the next target that we can accomplish here. So if we just reach, this is the April 28th, this is the last month, one of the lows. Actually, we have the bigger low at 98 level, but this is the very strong level, because I monitor this level for last several years. As you can see, this is support for the April 28. This was support for the April 23, and we can go, in the past. Look, this is the low for the April 11, etc., etc. So we can go really, really in the past and see how this level is very strong. So one of the first levels related to US dollar, if you watch the US dollar, is this level. So I think that we will try to reach this level before any reaction, and then we have some small or bigger reaction there, and then I hope that price will continue to go down based just on the weekly bias. But of course, everything can change. If we analyze the trend line of the US dollar index, you can see this trend line here. Let me just show you just to move here. So you can really see that we broke this trend line yesterday. So yesterday during the U.S. session, really late night of in my country, we broke this level, and from this moment we are so bearish. And you can see after we broke this trend line, how fast US dollar index start to go down, and how fast other currency pairs start become bullish. For example, euro dollar, British pound dollar. You can see that euro dollar and British pound dollar were bullish whole Asia session, whole Euro session, and we're keeping bullish bias during the US session. So we are keeping keeping up here. Now, the next thing that I want to share with you is the euro dollar. The euro dollar, relating to the next target that we maybe can achieve based on the institutional levels, is the level 1.145. I will just mark that on the chart. This is the next level that I monitor. It's somewhere here. Yes, it's somewhere here. It's not the ultimate high. Okay. But if we go to the past, I will just maybe take the daily chart like this, just to remove this and this. You can see how many times this trend line was either the support, either the resistance. Maybe to go to the weekly chart like this. So as you can see, even in December 93, for example, or a reaction in the August 97, or for example in the January 2006, and for example on the March 15, etc., etc. This price level, I know it looks a little bit funny, but this level is so strong for euro dollar, and we need to respect this level. So the next target can be this level right now, and we are not far away. It's just 120 pips from now. So if you make a swing trade, 1.145 can be very good level for you. Now, the next asset that we will watch is the US dollar CAD. This is the US dollar CAD. It's going down just because of the US dollar. And the next interesting level is 1.385. I think we are very close to this level. I will just find it. Yes, we're so close. You're so close here. Actually, a few pips from that. So I think that today a US dollar CAD can reach this level, and then I think the price will stop to go down. Maybe in few hours or something like that, because on institutional levels we always have some kind of reaction. So I think that this is the level that we need to watch. So if you have a trade, sell trade for US dollar CAD, you can target this price level without any problem. But after that, you just need a little bit to wait. I don't believe that can be just go for that price without any reaction. So this is the another trade. Now, British pound dollar, my favorite. I forgot to talk about the next target. So if we talk about institutional levels, the next price level should be at maybe to go to the 4-hour chart, it's better. It's a problem because it's the ultimate high and you don't have a space upside. Yes, it's about here, I think. So 1.3515, this is the price level, which is the institutional levels during the last 50 years. If you go, for example, on the weekly chart, you can see how many times this level was important. Look, just this price. This is the February of 2009 Monday. So look, this level was support, or this level was important support in 2010, for example, or I can find a lot of examples here. So this price level is an important level. So I just want to reach that level. I think that we can reach this level this week. Maybe today, I don't know, but for this week, I'm sure that we can reach this level. So I will monitor British pound dollar price very closely for that. Now we go to the Aussie dollar. I think that Aussie dollar can be
Igor,
interesting.
We also got another question from James there. He's asking if you can look at the dollar Swiss some stage.
Yes. Dollar Swiss is as same as euro dollar. And this is why I do not show this pair very often. just because of the correlation, nothing more. However, because the US dollar is weak, we can assume that price can go lower. But the problem is that the Swiss is a little bit stronger, actually, and because of that, US dollar Swiss cannot go smoothly down. And this is why I prefer more euro dollar to buy than US dollar Swiss to sell, only because this risk reward ratio and the weak strong currency pair. On the other side, if you decide to sell, because there is a reason for that, of course, we can draw the trend line here. I will just show you that trend line. Oh, yes. Like this. Something like this. And you can see that what can be possible push upside a little bit and go down. That can be one of the scenarios. There is a logic there because we have a strong former support, now resistance. So maybe we can retest this resistance and then go down. So there is a chance for that. Like I said, US dollar Swiss was a very good currency for me to buy and hold a very long time. But the problem was dollar, because dollar didn't hold, dollar started to go down, and everything changed there. So this is why I don't like anymore. If you go to the daily chart, I will just show something interesting here. As you can see, this is the moment when I entering this trade, just from the March month, like this. You see how this holds here, and you can see this bearish outlook is last 2 years for US dollar Swiss, and then we got some kind of the push. I will draw another trend line here. Look this. So we got one push last month, the day when I entered in this trade. But as you can see, we started to go up, and then we start to go down. So now I cannot be any more bullish for US dollar Swiss. US dollar is so weak. And but the problem with this pair is it little bit struggle here. It's a little bit struggle, and there's no momentum. I think the best momentum is for euro dollar. But if you want to trade, like I said, and I hope that you want to sell, then just wait a little bit for some better price to go a little bit higher and then sell. Actually, all US dollar pairs right now are bullish when we compare with the US dollar, because the US dollar is weak. And whatever you trade, if you sell euro dollar, if you buy euro dollar, buy British pound dollar, sell US dollar Swiss, whatever you trade, you will be on the right side because the dollar is weak. And like I said, look, we are struggling too with the British pound dollar yet. It's not clear. The trend is clear, the bias is clear, but we are struggling. It's going very slow, which is good because the relative strength index is low. It's not big, and that it give opportunity for more higher here and higher and higher. So this is the US dollar Swiss. I talk about that. Now I started to go about Aussie dollar.
Before you do that, Igor, I'm just got into a trade here on the S&P 500. Nearly missed it.
Yes, please. I will stop my screen. Yes, please show me.
So that was that level I was talking about, right? On the S&P 500. Remember, on the 1 minute time frame, price broke previous levels, reversed lower. Price structure point was taken out. We had a retest, but this happened really, really fast. So I got in at a little bit of a bad entry point there, but I'm currently a little bit in the money. Stop loss goes slightly above that fair value gap, and I've got a target here just slightly above today's current range low, if that makes sense. Right? Around about, what was that, 5892. Right, so that's the setup. I'm in this trade, and we only have about 12 minutes left on today's session. A bit far to go for price. Who knows? Maybe I'm on the right side of this, but yeah, I just quickly wanted to show you. I got into a trade, and yeah, let's hope it goes in my direction. You may continue again, Igor. Sorry about that.
No problem. Nice trade. Nice trade. I hope that you will
Thank you.
be on the right, You're already on the right side of the market. Just little bit push higher, and it'll be beautiful. So what I want to show you right now is for some other currencies, what are big institutional levels that we need to monitor. Aussie dollar, for example. Aussie dollar is the currency. Of course, we have a strong bias here, but here I think the level that we can watch is 0.615. It's a level of the low that we got in January 2025. So maybe this push lower can be interesting. However, because we have a mixed Aussie dollar here, because we watch Aussie dollar that we can reach a new highs because the weak US dollar index, the level that I'm watching is just above this resistance. Actually, it's a level 1.655. Just to mark that level here, something like that. And this level, even that on our chart is not important level, it was important back in the past. For example, look this is December 2023. It was support in the January 2024, multiple support and resistance levels during the 2024. Then it was the big support for June 2024, etc., etc. So this price level can be interesting target for Aussie dollar to reach in next week. And if you trade this pair, you can try to see what will happen here. Now, US dollar, Japanese yen, I show you my weekly bias, which is really insane, that I believe that we can reach 105. So if the US dollar index is become very, very weak in next months, we can go really, really down here. But of course, if we don't go so far or something change because the market is unpredictable, the important level that I want to share with you is level 141.5. That was institutional level for the traders. I will just show that level. It's somewhere here. So that level is really interesting on the weekly bias because it was the multiple time. Just to remove this level. Oh, I make mistakes. Like, okay, a little bit. So it was the multiple time support level, and this can be interesting, especially in the July 98 and before that. So this can be interesting level for traders, and I would like to reach that level before we see the new lows here, if fundamentals do the things that I like to see. The next thing that we can a little bit talk, I think the last thing that I want to talk is gold level. The gold is a little bit tricky because the gold always push a new highs and new highs and new highs. So we can just estimate. We can just estimate the new high here because it's a really tough. So the new high that we can see here, based just estimation, is I will just show you that a little bit. Yes, it's a little bit higher than previous high. It's 3,500 level. So this is the level that can be reached. But for the gold, I think it's a little bit, maybe the first step should be the ultimate high that we got, and then anything else, because the gold is not like other currency pairs depending so much on US dollar. For gold, when we talk about gold, it's more about inflation, more about as a precious metal. There is some seasonality there. There is sometimes demand from the India and China and etc. So it's a little bit tricky. But what good thing is that we are broke a resistance yesterday. We are starting to go higher. The only thing is that momentum is not so strong, as I showed you previously for the gold. Maybe we want to reach first this trend line and then go up. So it looks a little bit slow, bearish move now, and then maybe we start to go up. Maybe we want to retest the previous support. I don't know. We will see. But this is the movement right now. And now, guys, if you have some setups, please, you can share. If you want to ask about some trade that you have, or maybe trade that you want to create, please ask. We are here to help you, to discuss about that, to give some humble opinion about that, and maybe you will get a better bias there. The good stuff is right now relating to my trade. We are pushing higher, which is beautiful. The last 15 minutes, we are going higher. And I think that we are almost broke this. This is the first attempt to broke the level 1.3445, and we are somewhere near that level. And I hope that after that we have a 3460, and then if we break 3460, I want to see 1.35 level, which is a beautiful level for this week.
Awesome.
Do you have something to add, Richard?
I don't really have. I'm still in that trade on the ES, slightly in a negative. I can quickly update you there.
Yes, please.
So hovering roundabouts where I entered, retesting that fair value gap again. I'll just switch to a 5 minutes so you can just basically see a bit more clearer what's going on here. I got my stop loss around about 5924. Again, target around about today's current range low, 5893, round about there. So yeah, I'll just leave this. I'm not sure if price is going to stop me out or reach my target in 4 minutes time when we have to end our session. But yeah, when I'm on again tomorrow, I'll definitely update the trade and talk you guys through it. But yeah, that was a setup. You know, everything lined up according to the strategy, the rules, and I had to execute without thinking 2 times about it, if it makes sense, right? So avoiding the FOMO. What if price does go in your direction? You didn't enter into the trade. That can also be quite soul destroying, to be honest. But yeah, early days on this trade. Let's hope I'm on the right side of it. Again, I'll update you guys tomorrow again. When are you on again, Igor? Tomorrow?
I
Morning
hope
or afternoon?
tomorrow I am in the session 2. I'm in the session 2 tomorrow.
Cool.
Session 2 tomorrow. So
nice.
I think with Paul and Jannie, it will be funny.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how are we doing on time there? We got about a minute or so left. James, Igor is the man with the currency pairs there, so hopefully he helped you out.
Yes.
Yeah, at least we all took some trades as well. A bit of action happening. Luckily, I fumbled the crude oil trade there. Otherwise, I would have been in the negative today. But all good. Sometimes you need a bit of luck.
Yes. So, Richard, one question for you. Sometimes, did you hold your trade to the end of the US session?
Yeah, there's been times that I've done that, but I quite often find with this strategy, the longest I've ever held it was not the. I wouldn't say the longest I ever held it, but on average, I would probably hold it for about between 15 to 20, 25 minutes.
Yes.
You quite often get a lot of momentum when a setup like that occurs. I mean, there's quite a few things that has to happen, and when they all line up, typically price action reacts quite not violently, but with a lot of momentum. So yeah, I don't just trade day trading strategies. I also trade options.
Nice.
There I've been in positions for months on end. Or trade a bit more shorter term or short term options would, for me, not be weekly options, but something like monthly options or so forth. So, yeah, but with this particular strategy, the thing is also, Igor, to answer that question, I have to go home after this. It's already 4:45 here.
Yes.
So, can I access my platform? Yes, I can go onto the laptop, access the platform, open a position. But when it comes to day trading like this, you got to be quite, especially trading in the NASDAQ, I find, and the SPX. You have to be on the ball. I don't want to jump
Yes.
on my motorbike now and within the next 30 minutes get home and something, gone against me. Or
Yes.
I could, although I wasn't, let's say, price takes out my stop loss, but instead I see some pattern that might invalidate the direction I want to trade in, then I
Yes.
can just use that knowledge to rather get out of the trade, limit my risk, my loss, to put it that way. So, yeah, I typically don't with day trading hold until the end of the year session. It's just too late for me.
Nice. Nice, Richard. Nice strategy. So I just want to thank you, James, for your comments and everything. I wish you a lot of luck in trading and a lot of good moments.
Yeah,
And I think that this is the end of the session, if I don't
yeah, it definitely
miss.
is. Igor's been a
Yes.
good one. Good
Yes.
trades you got there. Again, I'll recap mine tomorrow when I do the morning session again. James, thanks very much for your participation and your viewership. You with us quite often. And for those
Yes.
that are still watching, we have our next round of coaches coming up in just a short while. So please stick around for that. So from my side, thank you very much, Igor. Great seeing you
Okay.
again. Have a
Great seeing to you.
fantastic rest of your day.
Wish you a nice week. Okay.
Cheers,
Bye bye,
everyone.
Richard. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Hey, Howard. How's it going, man?
Not too bad yourself.
Yeah, very well. Thank you. Very well. I just wish I could, a last minute rush to get ready.
Quickly. No, we're good. We're good. Let's do it.
Yeah, I was actually busy with a recording, and obviously I had to stop it because got to be in the session.
Absolutely.
Yes, and let me just get my my new platform. I used to use MT5, but I've been given this GUI trade.
Yeah,
You know GUI trade?
Yeah. I'm using that one.
Hey, Paul. Nice to see you.
There he is. Hey, Paul.
Hello, nice to see you, Howard. How's things?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
Jannie, what's going on?
Yeah, not too much, man. Not too much. I got the pound US dollar trade today. So I'm still in that trade, but there is an opportunity for a second entry. So I'll just go over there right now. Howard, you can let me know if this is exactly the same platform you've got.
Yeah. Let's see what you got.
So, I mean, I got this yesterday, and
that's the one. That's the one. It takes a bit of getting used to if you're used to MetaTrader. So
yeah, that's exactly what it is. So yeah, yesterday was a bit of a. I opened, I don't know how many trades, like 15, just to, but they didn't open for some reason. But anyway, here we are. So on the pound US dollar, I'll start with the pound US dollar. I'm still bullish on the pound US dollar. This morning we had that. What was that news event? Let me just have a look.
it's inflation, wasn't it? I think it was a stronger inflation than expected in the UK.
Yeah, CPI. And so we had that initial push to the upside, and I was waiting for, if I can just zoom in here so I can show you exactly what I was waiting for right there. Can you see that clearly?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so I identified this level after the breakout. I identified this level here, right, as a support level right there. So obviously we just broke through that support level, and I waited for this new candle and I was hoping for it to close above there. It didn't. The next candle also couldn't push and close above that resistance line now. Obviously, if you're below, then it's resistant. And then it moved lower, and the next level of support was, you can see that on the 1 hour time frame. Now, please don't. I knew it was going to do that. Right.
Was it the earlier highs, wasn't it? The old highs.
Yes, that's exactly right. So right here.
Yeah.
So that was where I was focusing on price action. So because this is the other thing. If you identify, for me anyway, if I identify a support level or resistance level on the 1 hour time frame, you can go smaller, right, to time your entry. So this was the next level I was looking at. And then if you go back to the 15-minute, I'll tell you exactly where I've entered this trade. So this was the level. Okay, we're getting closer. This is where I start to pay attention. This candle couldn't close above that support level. Neither could this one. This one did. This is where we got the push to the upside. So at the close of this candle, I got that confirmation that price is definitely closing above that support level. And then the new candle, as soon as the new candle broke that candle, that's when I entered the trade. With the stop loss, now usually the stop loss, or the correct place to place it, is below there. Now, I placed mine below that candle because I thought, well, that's a pretty big candle, right? So I'll just put it, I'll put it there. So initially, go away. Initially, it pushed up really nicely, and that was a very strong push to the upside. But you can clearly see here, right? You see that it found resistance, and then it came all the way back down. And I thought, oh man, I'm going to lose this trade.
Double top,
right? Because just because, like, first of all, it closed right. This candle closed right at the bottom of that candle. So I was expecting a lower wick, and I thought this is just going to wick me out, and that's going to be my own fault because the stop loss really should be at the low of that swing. But there's definitely a bit of luck involved in this one for sure. And then it just bounced back up. So that just shows me that this is a pretty strong support level, right?
Yeah.
So I'm still in this trade. This trade is still active. Now, where we are currently at is we're busy forming this double bottom formation coming off. Let me just delete this line so you can just coming off that 1 hour support level, right? So we're forming this double bottom. And now we haven't broken and closed above the neckline yet. So that's the next thing I'm waiting for. It has to close below that resistance level. If we get a close above there, then this double bottom is confirmed. And then at the same time, if you look at the 4 hour time frame, on the 4 hour time frame, this very strong. It looks very different on MetaTrader. But on MetaTrader, it looks like a very strong, like a bearish reversal candle, very strong bearish reversal candle.
Yeah,
but
different closing time. Could be.
Yeah. So
hours.
if you just focus on that candle, then you can very easily get distracted. So it's important to focus on the levels for me anyway. When you have a very clear bias, my bias is bullish. So if we get this close above that resistance level, as I've shown, we will get this is a beautiful, very clear double bottom. If we can get that coming off that support level, then I think we're going to go much higher. And in fact, I think we can easily hit 1.35, 1.354 even. I think that's where I've set my take profit at the moment. So so I'm still bullish on the pound US dollar. The only little bit of a concern is tomorrow's news event, and also the fact that we've already reached the weekly ATR, but we haven't reached the monthly ATR. The 1.354 level actually comes from the monthly ATR. Okay, it's not at a key resistance level. It can actually go much higher than that because the next resistance level is much further. But I would rather, hopefully, the news event can give us that push for the monthly ATR. It's going to give us a push, perhaps even in the wrong direction. Who knows, right? But if we can get that, okay, yeah. See, now it's doing that. So
push.
Another. Yeah, if we close above it, see that's a beautiful push. And the video I recorded for Holo Prime probably took profit now. But yeah, so so I think we can definitely move much higher. But as I said, like once we've hit the monthly ATR, I'll probably just stand back and just let next week play out, and then wait for the new month, and then I'll start to look at new levels of support resistance. The bias is still bullish because the next level of resistance on the longer time frames, if we go to the weekly, oh my goodness. Okay, so where it's not even in sight. Maybe if I do this, there we go. I think we can go. Yeah, I think we can go to the all-time, not all-time highs. We can go to that high, 1.425. I think we can go there, right? Not in a straight line, eventually. So I will always be looking for, very similar like I played it today. Like look for levels of support resistance and see how price behaves on smaller time frames to make sure it does. I do get that confirmation, etc. Okay. Where's the 15-minute? Okay, I just want to get that closed, then I'll enter this trade. So this is like waiting for these type of formations. If you are not like comfortable with taking trades right at the support because you feel like now you need more than that. I mean, there's I always say there's no such thing as a missed opportunity. Something else will form, or it will, if you miss this move, for example, this is a very strong engulfing candle coming off that support level. So that is a good entry, right? But your stop loss really should be below that little pivot there. But you can also wait for something a little bit more solid, like in this case, a double bottom or head and shoulders formation, or, some people do like to know, I'm going to wait a little bit longer. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so I'll get back to that in 5 minutes time, and then if we can get that definite close above, which I think we will, then I'll enter this trade. Gold took profit. I'll just quickly show you. I took a screenshot just before it went to the take profit line. So there's the screenshot of Paul. You'll remember this. This is the trade I took on Friday. This is an engulfing candle coming off. And well, Howard, you also know. You know, I've been waiting for that level on gold for I don't know how long, and we finally got it. Yeah, so that's the engulf. This is the second trade. The first one was even better. That was a 1 to 11, but this one gave me the engulfing candle again coming off. But this is a much longer time frame, so you want something a little bit more solid. This engulfing on the 1 hour time frame. So we gapped up on Monday, then we closed the gap. We actually came down here again, and eventually we took off. So this trade is now closed. So that was a nice little one. But for gold right now, there are two levels that I'm waiting for. Now, how do you zoom out of this thing? This is the only way, right?
Yeah, I think on the scale, left and right, up and down.
Okay, so let me go to the 4 hour. Okay, so this is what I'm waiting for on gold right now. I've got this diagonal line. I'm not sure what that horizontal line is doing there. Maybe it's very important. Anyway, all right, so I've got this diagonal line here. I do think gold is going to go lower, but not right now. So I'm waiting for a third touch here. So on a third touch, if we can approach this level of this diagonal line, that's when I'll be looking to take a short. And if we do get to that level, then really, this is when you don't go to smaller time frames, right? You want to see a rejection of at least on the 1 hour time frame. So you can't. The smaller time frames, they have their place, but you need to know when to use them and when to stay away from them. These diagonal lines, you want to stay away from the 15-minute and half an hour. You want to have at least a 1 hour candle rejection here. So that's the first level. The second level is this support level here. Is it even that support level? Might be higher. I'm going to have to look at one MT5. Maybe it's this one. Okay. Yeah. So you see that pivot there?
Yeah.
So that's a support level, and there's obviously one just below that. Now, how do you know which one it's going to go to? Well, you don't, right? You focus on price action. You focus on price action once you get close to that level, and then you want to make sure the price is rejecting off that level again with something like an engulfing candle or a double bottom, head and shoulders, whatever, right? So all the stuff in the book. And you just want to make sure that it is rejecting off that level. Very similar to the pound US dollar, right? There was that first level of support, and it just clearly broke through. So you don't take the trade. The second one, at that second support level, there was a clear reversal. So that's where you enter. So the scenarios here is, first of all, it's either going to come back and just retest that support level and then go back up and give me that level. The second scenario is it's just going to go straight to that diagonal line, and that's where I'll be interested in taking a short in gold, right? Because I don't think, well, yeah, exactly. I don't think, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. I don't think gold is going to make a new high based on this. I think we're first going to come lower once we either hit this level. Once we've hit that level. So it's just very important to pay attention to price, because those levels, as you know, they're just levels of interest. They're levels of interest, and that's where you start to pay attention to price action. And then from there, price action completely takes over, right? And then price action is in control, and you want to make sure that everything you're waiting for is playing out. All right. So I think this pound US dollar trade is now ready to take. Almost.
I just want to just interject, just for people paying attention. Bitcoin has just put in an all-time new high for reference.
Oh, nice. Beautiful.
We were originally trying to beat 109,358.01. We've now put in 109,500. So, just, carry on. Just letting everyone know.
Beautiful. Thanks for that, Paul. Yeah, it never pulled back, right? It just okay. So there's the confirmation. So you can take the trade there. All right. So now, how do you place a stop loss? How do you place a stop loss on this thing?
So I guess you double click on the banner which has got your long position, and that should give you the options, I'd imagine.
I think you've got to click your fingers, click your heels, and then say something. I can't remember what it is, the last bit.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I mean, this is a new platform to me. I'm a MetaTrader guy, so but the other option is, if you don't know how to play stop losses, is just set an alert and stay awake. Which is no, don't do that. Don't do that. All right, so this is now a double. This is a confirmed double bottom, and ideally your stop loss should be below here or there, and then I think this is going to go much higher, right? But always make sure you take out more than what you risk. So okay, so back to gold. Yeah, gold. I think I covered everything. Yeah, those are the two levels I'm paying attention to. Either the support and the bounce to that diagonal line, or just straight to the diagonal line. And then the other market is it's the NASDAQ. Where's the NASDAQ? Why did that disappear? I marked it as a favorite and everything. Okay, I'll just type it in. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the NASDAQ. All right, I drew this diagonal line because I mentioned that even though it looks like it's going to make all-time highs, just watch out for something like a divergence in price, and then this could potentially go much lower, right? But I drew this. I don't know when. Yesterday, yeah. Must be yesterday. I got this platform yesterday, but today we're pushing higher so far. So I'm not interested in taking, like I'm talking about swing trading. I'm not interested in the NASDAQ. I'll only start to pay attention when a price gets to the previous highs, right? So that's definitely a key level. Or if it does reject and it comes back to the support level, if it does come back to the support level. I don't think we're going to get a bounce to break that high. I think it's going to come lower. So for now, I'm just standing back. So I just want some clarity on that. Okay, it's like, is it going to go and make new? Because I know I think the DAX made new highs, so it's not completely impossible for the NASDAQ to also make new highs. But this is not a good spot to take a trade. This is not a good spot to do that. So
are you watching Bitcoin all-time highs as for a potential failure kind of thing?
Not, I haven't even looked at Bitcoin today. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Oh wow, look at that. Let's have a look at the longer time frame. No, probably not. Well, you can let me just delete all these things. No, I think based on, if you look at the longer time frames, especially the monthly, which is usually where I start, is like we've been in that uptrend for a very long period of time now. So, but even on the shorter terms, I mean, you see that consolidation. I think Paul was also, looking for a potential pullback. Didn't get it. We had another consolidation, and now this breakout. No, I will not be looking right now for any sort of, definitely not a short. If anything, I'll probably wait for this to just break out and do its thing, and then come back and then find some sort of support level. That would make more sense. But it has to be clear, it has to be clear, like the pound US dollar. That's clear. That's very clear. I don't get that on Bitcoin right now. Yeah, this is just pushing higher. So yes. I'll just stay clear from this one for now.
Let the buyers do their thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking obviously now in terms of swing trading, like the shorter term trading with leverage. But if you're investing in Bitcoin, I mean, obviously, like if there's any sort of pullback, you just want to add more, right? So yeah, so those are the markets that I am focusing on. And for now, I'll hand over to you, Howard, if you don't mind, please.
Let's do it. Cool. Okay. Just one. Let's present that. 1 second. Okay. So, so the day started off pretty well. As I was long euro dollar and short dollar yen overnight. Obviously been a dollar bear for forever or for a long time. Yesterday, is the stream come through? Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Cool. Yesterday, what I was looking at late in the session was obviously we're in that consolidation. We're based, the bottom of the consolidation is around previous highs. So nice kind of accumulation at old resistance. Here and here. We got the ramp up towards the top of the range. Initially, I was looking for a pullback towards the bottom of the range and then to base out. But we turned around the 50% retracement of that little swing higher. And as we were approaching the high, I did a little 10 pip scalp just for the benefit of the live show yesterday. But just prior to the end of the session, it was settling around the top of the range. And I kind of knew there was going to be a nice Asian session higher. So I loaded up with long euro and short dollar yen and just got that pop higher as I came in this morning. So I banked the profits on this kind of thrust higher this morning. So I've been out of it since then. Not really. Just let the consolidation take shape. It seems to have gotten a little bit choppy. So maybe it needs a bit more time, maybe sideways action before it can go again. But still very, very bullish in my opinion. I think we formed a major reaction low, just going back to the weekly chart here. Major bull market started back in September 22, first leg higher, ABC correction for wave 2 of that. And then since then, we've been in the early stages, I think, of wave 3. Which we've just seen that kind of corrective pullback ended last week. So we had that kind of long lower shadow. That's the bottom of the correction, I think. And this week so far, we've busted through the high of last week's high, or busted through the high of last week's candle. And that pretty much confirms the bottom of the corrective pullback. So yeah, I think bargain basement, I think we're going to be making new highs on euro dollar going forward. So I guess like you, Jannie, I'm just looking to buy dips when I get the opportunity, really, on this thing. I can't see anything that suggests that I should be going the other way, particularly if this is last week was the bottom of the correction, and this week we're in a kind of acceleration mode now to the upside. So not expecting too much on the downside for euro dollar. So corrective wise, I guess it's coming back. I think really kind of we're forming a bit of a support level here in the kind of low 113s. We've got the old high that comes in 112.88. So somewhere close to 113, I think could be a good place to think about picking these up again. It might give us an opportunity tomorrow. So we'll see how we go with that one. On to dollar yen. I've skipped cable for the time being. I'll come back to that. So dollar yen, obviously that big on the weekly chart, that kind of toppy pattern forming, big level down just below 140, the figure, swing higher, 161.95 major high, I believe. First leg down, ABC correction for wave 2. And here we are kind of gravitating back towards the swing low and also the reaction low. So I think, again, as with euro dollar, we're in a kind of acceleration phase within a new multi-month, multi-year downtrend for the dollar. Closer in, obviously, we had that kind of rejection from the big support level here, which gave us that bullish engulfing week. And then we had a 2.5 week push higher. But again, I think last week's long upper shadow on the weekly candle has pretty much confirmed the top of that correction. And this week so far, we busted through the low of last week's candle. So it looks like we're in early stages of a move, which should at least take us down towards these lows. and most likely for me through them in a kind of acceleration pattern. So yeah, onto the shorter term stuff. Where am I now? So yeah, as I say, last night it was really this kind of double top type pattern here, which I dived in, took a short position, looking for the push to the lows, which we got this morning. So sort of cashed in as we were kind of heading down towards the low this morning. So that was quite a nice one, and I've been out of it since then, just not doing anything. I've got a sell stop on the break of this little reaction low here. So this for me again would say acceleration. Should we break through 143.46? We're not a million miles away, so it could happen in our session today, right now. So I'll be looking to sell the break of this level, looking for another like a 50 pip kind of move lower on this one. But it seems to be a pretty much like a dead cat bounce from this low. So we had that nice. This I guess was the place where I probably should have taken my short at the previous lows here, but after kind of having a good overnight trade, I thought I'd leave it and wait for something else to set up. But it seems that was the end of that particular correction. Nice aggressive move down, a bit of profit taking, I guess, for the shorts ahead of the low, and a very weak dead cat bounce from that low. So this could well follow sterling to new dollar lows in line with your Jannie move higher on cable. So I think once we take out these lows, we could get a very fast bit like this kind of thing. We could get a good couple of strong or very weak candles to the downside. But just waiting for if this kicks off, then I'll be in there. I'll be selling on weakness on that one. So waiting for that one to play out. Euro yen. So this one also, I'm waiting for a trade on euro yen. This one is a little bit similar to what I did on. I basically did the same kind of trade on gold yesterday, long trade on gold, where it took out the previous day's extreme on the candle. So yesterday's high for euro yen was 163.28. So it kind of nibbled through it, rejected back, straight back into the range, and now we're seeing chop, chop, chop. So for me, the trade is basically we break through these lows. That confirms that these buyers are completely trapped and that we should be heading the other way. And that's essentially that's really what I did on gold yesterday. Let's go back to gold on the intra-day chart. Yeah, so that's the setup there, whereby in a range we break through marginally, just a few pips or ticks or whatever you want to call them, just below the previous day's low, just enough to get this, to lure some of the sellers in. Nibbles through, comes back up again, and then they're kind of still underwater. And then for me, I got in as we were breaking through some of these highs on the intraday chart, just here on this candle here. I think it was I was getting in, and again I got out literally as this thing was blasting higher. And I missed a lot of the move, but so it was really just a short-term kind of punt to just to grab that breakthrough, because I knew that once we were going through these highs, it would go some distance, because it did look to me like we've formed a major corrective low down here, 31.20, first leg up, correction of it. This is kind of all part of a extended third wave for me. So kind of 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and this is the 3. This is the move that you're looking to catch a piece of, a good piece of. So yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do on euro yen, should we get that opportunity. But we may not. It may just be stuck in the range. So they're the ones I'm watching kind of right here to do trades in the next hour or two. So I'll hand it back, and we'll come back, see if we're any closer to those things a bit later.
Okay, thank you, Howard. Is there anything else on your radar, or would you say the dollar pairs they look really? They're currently the most attractive pairs to watch, right? Because of the
absolutely. That for me is the thing. It's and gold to a certain extent as well, because we've made that major low, or it looks like we've made a major low. But I think the way the yen is acting, it could be kind of a harbinger of kind of dollar yen leading us down. So I think
I mean, yeah, and also the dollar index. If you look at the dollar index, let me just quickly show my screen if you don't mind. The dollar index has really, and this is obviously a very important indicator we look at when we look at the dollar pairs as well. We had this support level, and then for 3 weeks we were pushing back up, and that's how we got that retracement on the pound US dollar and perhaps the other markets as well, but I only focus on the pound US dollar. So that made sense at the time. But right now, like even last week, when we ended with this candle here, with that very sharp reversal, forming that high upper wick, small body towards the lower end, and the small wick towards the lower end, that's bearish in an overall downtrend.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, that was like, yeah, I don't think if we're going to trade into that shadow because it's a bit top heavy. So that to me was the retracement. That was the retracement, right? Yeah. And now we are crashing back below it. So we could potentially, I mean, tomorrow's Friday. We'll see how this closes. If we get it close below here, then the dollar is going to weaken. It's going to weaken, and it's going to take out this. This is the weekly time frame on the dollar index. It's going to take out this this strong hammer formation that formed on the support level. It's going to take that out and move lower. And this move here looks almost identical. Howard, I think we were in the same session perhaps when we looked at the 2008 crash and just exactly how the dollar index behaved there. And it behaved exactly like this. Very strong move down. It found support. There was a retracement and then a continuation. So we're getting pretty much exactly a repeat of the 2008 crash, right? When it comes to the dollar. So I don't think this is going to go back higher. That was it. That was the high. That that 102 level. So yeah, that's that kind of plays in nicely with the setups that we identifying on the dollar pair. So the pound US dollar long, the euro dollar long, dollar yen short, and so on. So yeah, but the dollar index is a very useful indicator to look at when you trade the dollar pairs. But I
think the euro is quite a big component of it. I believe it is. I think like the dollar trade weighted. So to a large extent, it kind of reflects euro dollar, but obviously you've got other currencies in there as well.
Yeah.
But,
correct. All right.
So for me, top of my list is where do I sell dollars next? That's
yes, yeah, that would make more sense. Like obviously, we all know, like in the short term, you can. I mean, the thing that makes sense is to, like you just said, Howard, like look for dips and that sort of thing. So just identify, if you want to identify trading opportunities, and you are short the dollar, just identify key levels on, when I say key levels, support resistance levels, and look and make sure once price gets close to those levels to focus on price action and make sure you are trading away from those levels. And that's how you should really trade. All of the dollar pairs for, I don't know for how long, but definitely for the next few weeks. So
does that tie in at all with the cryptos going higher? Is that kind of a nice kind of prop support for them?
Potentially. I mean, as you talked about, it's difficult to assess right now, especially with the current price action of Bitcoin. But yeah, maybe.
Yeah, no, I know a lot of people look at a weaker dollar as being kind of hand in hand.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. We've talked about this previously. It's just, I think with everything on its head, a lot of things are behaving quite paradoxically. So it's difficult to lean on previous precedent. But you'd hope it'd be good for sure. But I think it's a case of we need other elements as well now to facilitate risk asset movement. But yeah.
Okay, Paul, are you ready to take over, or are you still just kind of sorting a couple of things out?
Yeah, sure, we can have a look. Right. So let me know when you can see my chart, please.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, so just, we've talked about this previously. Bitcoin could very easily put its beak above all-time highs, and we've just done that. I'm trying to find the best chart to illustrate it. It's probably this one, actually. But yeah, just poked ahead above all-time highs very, very briefly. And again, difficult to trade historically when this occurs. I've seen this so many times through the cycles. And you'd expect the sellers to start taking control now, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So we'll monitor it through the session. But as you can see, getting quite a strong rejection now, but nothing's breaking the trend. So we'll just have to pay attention. But what we need to look at, of course, is how the rest of the market is reacting to it. And there you go, all-time highs popping ahead above. So just see what Bitcoin dominance is doing. And sorry, the chart's a little bit of a mess here, but you can see following this nice movement, which gave a lot of altcoins some pretty good long activity over the last few weeks. We've had a very solid bounce at this support line. So we haven't broken a primary trend yet. And this obviously is Bitcoin season, but the trend arguably might be looking to weaken a little bit. And then obviously a move down here would be great for the altcoins. But when Bitcoin is tussling with all-time highs, people are going to stay on the sidelines. So you're not going to get a flood of people necessarily coming to the market just because Bitcoin has improved its top price by a few $100s. So it's going to be probably challenging trading over the next few days. But let's have a look at a few setups. My XRP setup from yesterday is in profit, thankfully, just a little bit. So we got some, so we had a nice entrance. Where was it? It was about here. Yes, we came in here and we're currently making our way up the different levels. But is this going to get invalidated now because of Bitcoin's moves? We'll have to see. But if Bitcoin stays up and doesn't have much of a rejection, then some of these might start to move on the further. But I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility that this comes back down to my interest level and I might decide to get out at no loss. And still waiting for CFX. Let's see what CFX is doing in terms of trading opportunities. Yeah, so it's just bouncing around this range. I've been very clear that I want to be able to buy here, enter here at this area, because I move downwards from here. If Bitcoin retraces a bit, I need to have maximum control. So if I come in here and the price action breaks back down here, I may not get an option to exit where I entered. So it's very important that I come in at this level for risk management. So if it does head downwards, then I've at least got something to manage before my stop gets hit. So I'm just waiting for that. And what was the other trade? Near, whatever. Look at near. Near is not near to my entrance. So
not near. Yeah,
not near. Near is far. It's not far, but it's not close. Anyway, we can carry on this wordplay for a while. So again, just this is the example. You got to wait for the price action to come to you very within a realm of possibility over the next couple of days. But just waiting for that entrance. There's no other entrance really which is viable. But if we don't get the pullback for near over the next few days, then this will probably start causing problems, because then as the price action comes back down, we're no longer with confluence with the 618. So this trade for me might invalidate if it carries on for another day or so, because then I won't have the confluence I want. But let's have a look at two fresh setups for this live stream, exclusive setups, nowhere else to be found. This is Floki, and here's the daily 200 MA. So not a setup for sure, arguably B/C, but it's essentially a breakout trade. We've got this downwards channel, which we've kind of just ekingly made our way out of, but not with much confidence, because there is another channel, there is another pattern intersecting with this one. Now, this can be quite good confluence for trading when you see a couple of patterns kind of merge like Siamese twins to a degree. It gives us a little bit more something to trade off. And it also, this isn't the pattern I saw immediately. I added it on afterwards, because I was looking at this trade and think, well, that's not a strong breakout. This is clear resistance, so it's a breakout trade, but I need something else. So we add this on, and we've got an additional point of confluence in addition to this moving average. So this would be a breakout entry, wait for a move upwards. Ideally, you want it to surpass this previous high, and then come all the way back down. And there's your retest entry with some nice confluence with here and the moving average as well, which makes this an easier trade. But if we didn't identify this pattern, it may have been a little bit ambiguous
I'll tell you what, that's one of my kind of setups there. I like the breakout on that. I love that kind of
because it's like when you've got sellers here at resistance on the moving average, it's only the 1 hour, but the 200 MA obviously has relevance. So we got sellers on the 200 MA currently, we have sellers here on this upper triangle line, and we've got sellers here. So a move upwards from here would essentially, presuming that the line can hold, turn those sellers, all of those sellers, into buyers, right? And that's the oversimplification of it. But that's
I thought you were going to say into losers, but yeah,
turns them into complete losers. Finding the right setup. I'm not
a bit like what happened on, was it the 7th of May or something, the 8th of May? That kind of base down there, you know, before it took off last time.
Yeah. And again, caution here, but this is why we're looking for confidence. So it's pretty straightforward trade. It's easy to manage in this respect, and we do have a golden cross coming up through the side entrance, which we might help us on a retest. So if you have a breakout here, and then you're coming back for the retest, and if you see this golden cross is then about to play, then that is your entrance signal, and that should be perfectly manageable for sure. But that's again a waiting game. I wouldn't suggest buying the breakout, a hard breakout now, because as we've established, Bitcoin is right up here, and you know, in order for that to work out, Bitcoin probably needs to carry on higher. So caution here with Floki, but once it's come up and come down, we might have some clarity. But there's that setup. No, I'm not going to take it yet. Although, to be fair, you could come in at this lower support line of this sort of pennant of this symmetrical triangle. If you want to front run it, for sure, that would be something you could do. So, and you might say, well, you're in the middle of a range, sure, but there's a lot of buyers below, so a breakdown here will probably give you an entrance within this range. So that would be manageable too. Again, this conversation is all about risk management, not the lowest profit.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add something there, Paul. If you look at the actual breakdown of that range, it's setting up beautifully. Yeah, like you see that push to the upside, and it came back lower, made a higher low, went all the way back up, made a lower high, came back and did that again. But now these last two touching points is now actually hitting resistance, right? It's now hitting resistance. So there's now, you've got 3 touching points there. So this definitely has a much higher probability of breaking up to the upside, like just based on if you break down what that range is actually made out of.
Yeah, wow, and there is some ascending triangle action as well, for sure. It's a bit janky, but you can, if you look at what an ascending triangle, which would mean this is a flat top, essentially, like this. If you look at what an ascending triangle essentially is in terms of, price action and trading psychology, it is obviously a weakening amount of sellers with a growing amount of buyers. So we have a little bit of that going on as well. So I agree, it's a really good setup, but I'll try and get that out to people over the next few days. But again, weather people, it's going to could be a crazy few days. So be very, very cautious. And if you do want to trade, think about what capital you're using, of course, because obviously this setup looks great, but the weather could be volatile, and we need to just bear that in mind. It doesn't matter if you've got the most expensive, perfect, glistening tent. If there's a tornado around the corner, it's going to screw you up. It's simple as that. You don't want to be in a tent during a tornado. SUI, USD. So this again is a breakout trade. This is obviously a higher time frame, just to give us the perspective. But we want to see a strong break and move out here. There's obviously some flags we can trade off, but we're just running straight into resistance. So again, you want to see a very strong move to the upside with volume. So you look at this sort of move here with volume. This is ideally what we want to see for a breakout. And we probably want to see it come up into the second range above, which makes a strong retest more likely. So if the price action just kind of do what Bitcoin's just now with all-time highs, and it just does this, boop, right? Which you can barely see, right?
Sorry, Paul, to interrupt. I've just taken a live one on crude. Can I just quickly show, and then I'll hand it back?
Please.
Just seen a good opportunity to go short crude oil. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. So kind of macro picture. Obviously, we had that kind of descending triangle which broke, and then we had the retest of the descending triangle, broken support, becomes resistance, back down, didn't take out the low, buyers come in, or short covering comes in, back up. Here we are at the top of the range. Now, it looks to me like yesterday we had an attempt at breaking higher with a long upper shadow, and today we've retraced nearly all of yesterday's range. So that for me is a kind of a good short opportunity, just going on the daily chart and on the way that we're shaping up on this. So I've taken a small short position with a stop over today's high so far, and I'm thinking of adding should we get a stronger signal, like a breakdown, but a small position at the moment. This is the intraday, so that's the move higher that we saw, just the kind of the test of the top of the range. So quite climactic, I think. Back down again. We've killed all of those buyers now. I was thinking initially of maybe selling at 62 on this particular chart that we've got here, but I want to take a small piece of it just in case it does break, because it may well break and then give you another opportunity on the rebound, maybe from this low here above 60. So a small short here, looking to add once we're either seeing a very weak bounce from here, or we start to break down through some of these support levels. But for me, the big picture is still bearish, and it looks like we've failed at the top of the range in a downtrend, or at least in a bearish environment. So that's where we are. Back to you guys. Back to you, Paul. Sorry.
Let's just have a look at what my XRP trade is doing just before we jump back to it, because obviously monitoring how crypto is reacting to these moves from Bitcoin. So yeah, so currently let's just check what Bitcoin's doing. I haven't got my Bitcoin chart set up. So yeah, so let's have a look. Tussling at the moment, and if Bitcoin stays up here, then you're probably going to see altcoins making a bit of a move. Let's just have a quick look at Bitcoin dominance. Just charts aren't particularly organized today. Where is it? Yeah, so we want to see this come down, but XRP is responding quite positively. Just obviously this is the area which we're looking to break above, and I think if we can break above here, we might be having a crack at coming up here for take profit. But certainly still in play with XRP. But if you are in a trade at the moment, I will monitor Bitcoin very carefully, because I might move my stop to break even soon if we get come a bit higher, or maybe just take profits whenever I can, because of the volatility which might be impending. Oops, sorry about that. Right, so where were we? We were talking about SUI. So yeah, principally when you're trading breakouts, this is the daily. If you see something like this, just like Bitcoin's doing, and then it comes back down to retest, that's nothing. It's just nothing, and it's most likely just going to roll over, right? So in order to have the best possible chance of retest, obviously let volume be your guide. Bust it up to a couple of levels is really helpful, and then you can come back down. And because of, just generally people are expecting a certain degree of retrace, that will provide some nice confluence here. And that's the best way to trade the retest. If you see it just do this, then it's probably going to weaken and do this. We're on a strong breakout and then look for some entrances. But SUI, is definitely in play. And because this is the 618, this could provide some nice strong confluence if you can flip this resistance zone too. But again, not in play at the moment. But yeah, just a couple of setups from me. Nothing really else happening, as I can't recommend trading, putting any positions on right now with Bitcoin. Because of that. I mean, any thoughts on that, Jannie, in terms of?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, you showed a chart a couple of weeks ago about, or maybe that was an article, I can't remember, but it was people owning between, was it 10 and 15,000 Bitcoin, or 10 and
10,000, yeah.
10 and 10,000 Bitcoin. Was buying more. Is that trend continuing, or was that just
last time I checked? Yeah, the chart I showed yesterday on market capitalization is kind of touching base in that arena for sure. A slightly different metric, but yeah, holders essentially who are holding between 10 Bitcoin and 10,000 Bitcoin. I need to check obviously this week. They're not selling. Which is typically a sign of continuation for Bitcoin. And these kind of under the hood metrics can give us an insight in what's going to happen next. And we talked about it all this week and last week, that Bitcoin could very easily just pop its head above all-time highs, and it's just done that now. But based on my experience, what happens next is it's very difficult to predict. And therefore, even though this is all bullish and this is all exciting, You're going to have retail jumping into the market right now when professional traders are just kind of need to wait and see because of the volatility which may come as these unprecedented kind of when we say unprecedented in terms of, we don't knock on the door of all-time highs very often in the 4-year cycle, and this is a something which we've got to get through. And until Bitcoin has put some serious distance between previous all-time highs, maybe coming up here to 125, then we have to presume there's going to be some serious volatility in this area until we've had a more bullish context going forward, because people have to take profits. And it's not that they're bearish on crypto, but if you've been holding Bitcoin from here to here, where are you going to sell it, right? You're going to sell it now, right now, at the top. And that's something we need to bear in mind. So,
yeah, I think like just to add to those two diagonal lines you have, with the recent highs coming right from the bottom, like as those two, because you can already see there's a bit of an angle and they're pointing closer and closer to each other. That's typically when it will start to, like, it can't. Did you see what I mean? It has to kind of break down below that. And I'm not sure that that's making any sense.
No, I mean, the probability is 70 to 80% of this breaking down, for sure. But I was just planning the news video for tomorrow, and it's just full of institutional adoption, states, countries, cities, India, Hong Kong, all making massive moves. And you think about India as an example, right? And if they get their crypto, because back in 2020, India lifted a ban on Bitcoin, and the markets exploded as a result. Now, Bitcoin, obviously cryptos aren't banned in India, but when meaningful regulation is put in place, which means access is easier for people, you've got to think of the population of India and how that's going to impact. You have all those people all of a sudden being able to legitimately engage with the market and buying up Bitcoin, including institutions, not just retail traders. I mean, it's an extremely populous place, and that's of course going to have a massive impact on the world in terms of how it's going to impact the price. So there's so much happening. We've just had the Genius Act finally get through the Senate, and of course it's not law yet, but if the House, and it's interesting to see how the House deals with it, but huge things are happening. Texas, again, is progressing its state reserve, Bitcoin reserve laws through. Arizona's already completed some of them. And when you're looking at context like this, well, it's got to roll over. Well, what happens if it breaks to the upside out of this pattern, which in fairness is only a couple of $1,000s away from doing? Then it's probably going to go parabolic, at least up until this area. So this is what I'm talking about, unpredictable natures. We're looking at this pattern and saying, well, this is a straightforward, easy short trade. But it's not for any of you who have been around the market for the last couple of cycles. And it still most likely happened, but look, golden cross, right, coming in.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, but as I've mentioned earlier, it's definitely, you see the foundations or those building blocks to where we are right now. They're too strong for you to want to take a short in the first place. Like if you look at where we are right now and where the last consolidation phase is, where that would be, as you can see that as support, right?
Yeah,
it's a very small kind of area, so a short makes no sense at this point. But for shorter term trading, neither does a long, really.
Because it could be midway through its move kind of thing, and you don't know which way.
Yeah, it's just that, like, it's now is like you're too late for Bitcoin. You should have entered.
Maybe a little bit dramatic, but again, it's like, as I've been trying to say, right? I don't trade Bitcoin. I don't trade it, right? It's the barometer for me. That's what it is, right? It's the thing I tap, right, to see if it's going to rain, right? I mean, that's so old. I'm sorry, showing my age now, but you know what I'm talking about. And this is the thing, and the reason why I don't trade it is because it is so unpredictable. Bitcoin loves to upset expectations and probabilities. But the thing people need to watch for altcoin long trades, they need to look at total 3, a pure total 3 chart. We just need to see, this continue upwards. And obviously, having a little bit of a pullback here, but this is the key thing. And even if Bitcoin dominance, again, I'm pretty sure I can't find the chart off the top of my head. There we go again, putting in more gains. So this is the thing. Even if Bitcoin dominance continues upwards, which we've said is a possibility for sure before we reach the tipping point. As long as total, that's theta, another T, as long as total 3 or the rest of the crypto market is moving upwards as well, that means that it is still growing. It is still growing with Bitcoin as opposed to being stagnant, which it has been. So as long as those two things are going up, you're not going to have a life-changing altcoin movement just yet, but the market will move. And as we've evidenced, as I keep going back to the XRP trade, I'm not looking at it because I want to see if I've got my profit yet. I'm looking at it to see how the market is reacting to Bitcoin's moves right now.
Come on, Paul, be honest. You're checking those. You're checking those dollars.
Yeah, see, I definitely want more than $34.
All right, if you say so. $30 would be enough for me, but all right. Yeah, I'm just looking at the pound US dollar trade. The last half an hour, we've just been ranging to the side, so we are kind of. I'll just quickly show you. We are finding support on that breakout there. Okay, so that was we got the close above, and now we're coming to retest that neckline. So we could potentially range here for some time. I don't know. I mean, it's completely unpredictable. When I got into this trade earlier today, when we got that push to the upside, I thought, yeah, another 15 minutes, half an hour, like 1 or 2 15-minute candles, then I'll be out of the trade, and that's it. Found resistance, and I'm now in this talk. The trade closed because it's for a video, but I ended up being in the trade for like 5.5 hours, and over here I was only in the trade for 45 minutes, so it can very quickly kind of just turn and range, and then you're stuck in the trade for much longer than you would like. So in terms of like time, how long will it take? Don't know. We could range here for some time and eventually go higher. The time element. I was going to ask you, Howard, if you don't mind, if you could just go back to that crude oil trade. It was something very interesting I saw when you showed that chart.
Yeah. Which time frame do you fancy?
I think you were on the half an hour time frame.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you just mark out that resistance level from that previous peak onto the left hand of your screen. Yeah. So if you can just if you just please just draw that horizontal line. Yeah, like that. You see how beautiful is that, right?
Oh yeah.
So like I can't really see, because you see the thing is, like, you get that, like, your bias is very important. Obviously you need a strong bias, and that you're always going to get from longer time frames. If you don't have a clear bias, you are going to be confused as hell when you get to these levels. Oh, it looks like it's breaking out, I'm going to go, yep. Oh no, short. Yeah. So your bias is very important, but you already showed that the bias comes from the weekly time frame, I believe. So yeah, that right there, when you see that push right above that level, and the very next candle is a bearish inside candle.
Yeah. Boom.
That's enough. That's enough. I'm not saying I'm not talking like you would say to children. That's enough. Paul will know all about that. That's enough.
That's enough.
Are you talking about my background in education?
Have you used that line a lot? That's enough.
I wasn't teaching in the 70s.
All right.
I use sarcasm with teenagers these days.
But anyway, so that is like, when you have that confluence is coming from longer time frames, like like you've pointed out, Howard. When you get to that resistance level and it looks like it wants to pierce through, and you get that next candle is an inside candle, you can take the trade the moment it breaks the low of that half an hour candle.
Yeah, in there.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Stop up there.
Yeah. So that was a beautiful trade. Andre, nice to see you. Robert, nice to see you guys again. DXI
Hi guys.
DXI is slowing down. Yeah, DXY had its pullback, I believe. I think I would agree with that. It's over. So we are basically I mean, I took out a second mortgage. It's all on shorting the dollar. No, I think the pound US dollar, you're going to make a considerable purchase of Bitcoin and it will go up. All right, Andre, I like your sense of humor, mate. I know you're not serious. I know that's just a joke.
Well, in order, Andre, if you've got enough money to move Bitcoin in the market at the moment with the market cap of what it is, then hey, let's talk, right?
Let's talk. Yeah.
See what you think about my portfolio. Maybe you want to get in on it.
Yeah. But Paul, are you doing both, right? You're doing investing and trading, like yeah.
I mean, look, the easiest way to make money in crypto is just create a bag in the right time, for sure. So yeah, but they obviously the market, the altcoin movement has been delayed significantly, maybe totally. So I'm still adjusting. There's a few positions I've got which are a little bit higher, which I want to bring down. But because I've been scaling into a lot of these positions, all of this volatility over the last few months has allowed me to essentially just, you come in at places in November, and then I've been slowly moving them down as everything comes down. So I call it repoing, essentially just repositioning, not repossessing, but repoing them. So yeah, for sure. It's the easiest way to make money, and it's the first thing I did when I was first messing with the market. And then I learned after, essentially, I started investing for sure. But yeah, what's Andre? Wait, someone is buying. I'm selling. Okay, Robert.
Buy at the top. Andre says buy at the top.
Don't buy at the top. Just don't buy at the top. Howard, back me up, please. Just say it. Don't buy it.
What's your next comment going to be, Andre? Buy the dollar?
We're just being trolled.
No. Buy high, sell low. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just the worst place. Yeah. Well, we spoke about that a lot now. But even for say the pound US dollar as well. Remember how when we were at maybe I can show you quickly when we were at this weekly high, and even though okay, you're gonna have to bear with me now. Oh wow. Always does this. Right here. You see, no, this is something similar. Okay, it's not all-time highs, but it's exactly the same kind of thing. You hit that high. Now, if you want to go long, it's just a very dangerous place to do that, right? Because yes, the pound US dollar definitely is bullish over the longer term. It's going to go up, but when you hit that level, it's just never a good idea to go long right there, right? You have to be careful and pay attention to price action and everything else. So this is exactly, even though the pattern doesn't look, even though it kind of does, well, not exactly the same. The Bitcoin looks completely different, but it's the same similar kind of thing. You're buying right at the top, and then you had some. This is the weekly time frame. So you had some pretty steep pullbacks.
Yeah, people taking profits. Those that were long on that last few weeks before it take a bit of profit, comes off a bit.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin does something like this, even though the structure and how it's been put together looks different. But it's the same thing. You don't, even if you are bullish, you just don't buy at the high because you are at the same time at a resistance level. So there's that.
Yeah, I guess you could put in a filter. You could say, like, when it gets to a level like that, let's let it take out at least one or two lows on the same chart. Yeah, that could be your kind of you go from overbought to underbought kind of thing. Yeah,
no, you're right. I also want to add, like, this is Igor, I think, focuses on this pattern. I don't. Do you? I think, Paul, maybe you do as well. The year on the daily time frame. This is the daily time frame on the pound US dollar. If you just do that, right? Year is also, this is a beautiful cup and handle formation, right? So there's your cup and there's your handle right there, and now you get a breakout, right?
Yeah.
If that's something you look at. I really don't. I'm
Not for
more,
me.
yeah. I focus on, but this is very, very, very popular in stocks.
Yeah.
The cup with handle. I know that. But yeah.
Oh
you
yeah,
see that
I'm a
pattern.
big cup on handle guy. Some of my best trades have been simply buying the breakouts and retest of cup and handle and necklines. And I think it's a bit. The cup and handle just gets a bad rep, right? I have some students who call it teacups and all kinds of. It's not exactly the most sexiest of pattern, but it and because the problem is also that they're big, right? And I'm not trying to call back to Igor's, I don't know, multi-century cup and handle chart, which he showed a few weeks ago, which I don't know, I can't remember what that was. Silver, was it? Silver.
Oh, yes. So,
Going back to medieval times.
Yeah.
But they're long-term patterns. So if
It's
you're
the finest pattern in all of Christendom.
yeah.
They take forever to form, right? Over a very long period
If you're
of
an
time.
intraday trader, you're probably not going to encounter them too much, or at least versions of them which are tradable. But I encounter them all the time.
Sorry, yeah, but it is something you can use as like a probability stacker, and not necessarily a pattern you trade, but just a probability stacker. So
yeah, and
they're
not immune from problems. I mean, I see plenty of cup and handles. I've tried to trade plenty of cup and handles which just roll over. So they're very dependent on the market. But as long as you know, as we're talking about, like the best way to buy a retest following a breakout is observing, of course, the strength of the initial breakout, and that determines whether you're going to buy the retest or not. And when you any of the trades I've had with cup and handles where they've gone a little bit bad, it's usually because I haven't paid attention to low volume signals, or as we talked about, tiny little moves and struggling to maintain support, or a breakout above the neckline, and then when it comes down, having a foundation below the neckline at a slightly lower support and then bouncing from there. Any ambiguity can cause problems. So they're not like, they're not magical patterns, but you add them with other areas and other levels and other confluence with other things, then they can be really powerful, because they obviously reflect ultimately what we're always trying to capture, which is the move from a downtrend to an uptrend, or vice versa, right? And that's ultimately what trading is all about, and the cup and handle represents that best.
Yeah, that's true. Andre, you say you believe it will break the resistance in the pound US dollar, but the rise is already very stretched. I mean, it looks like a stretch, but if you look at I would recommend you look at the monthly time frame and look at the ATR. Look at the 14 ATR on the monthly time frame. You'll see that there's still plenty of gas left in the tank. There's not a lot of time left in the month, but we haven't done much for this whole May, for the month of May. We've had pullbacks and we've had, range, just sideways movements and so on. So I know it looks stretched at the moment. Why is my trade not showing profit here? Is that like are we getting like frozen again? Because the pound US dollar is moving up. But
give it a refresh, maybe.
Yeah. Is that a refresh button, or do I just do this?
Yeah, that'd be fine. He says.
It'll be fine. Yeah, nice, but look at again, if you look at the monthly ATR, that's a very good guide in terms of what you can expect. And there's definitely still, I think there's another, I think it can go to 1.35 for like another 100 pips from where it's now. It's like, obviously we have that news event tomorrow and so on, but just based on the ATR alone, there's still room, right? And you can get slightly oversized ATR candles on the daily and the weekly. Like, I think, what was it yesterday? Was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember. We had that. That was on Monday. Sorry, we had 150 pip move on the pound US dollar with an ATR of 100. So it moved 40% above the daily ATR, and then it started to pull back right to a support level, which looked like it was a beautiful entry, but it's not, because you're still at the daily ATR. You maxed out, right? So you're better off waiting for the next day. But on the monthly, there's still room. There's still 100 pips there. There's still 100 pips there. You just need to time it. I think this double bottom is not a bad place, or this was not this is not a bad trade, right? And obviously it could come lower and all that. And it's another 50 minutes. Excuse me. Then we'll get into the last 4 hours of the New York session, which is typically more like quiet. And then we've got the overnight sessions, and that hopefully that will also be quiet. And then tomorrow we could get like another, another move to the upside, but it's gonna break this. Or let me put it like this: the probability for this to break is much higher compared to where price is now for it to break this low. Like it's much more likely. Oh, what are you doing? It's much more likely to break this high. I assume this is the high you're talking about, Andre. Or you're talking about the forever highs. The high highs. Right. So I assume you're talking about this high. Yeah. It's way more likely to break this high compared to the opposite. Right. Because you've got so much confidence. This a reversal is like, what's your, like, remember, like when you try to figure out what's more likely to happen, you stack probabilities. What do you have in your favor? All right. Well, we've got, apart from all the other confidences we had, which was we made a higher low. I'll just quickly show you. Right. We made this higher low. That's the higher low, right? And the higher low, we spoke about this before, is typically a V shape, right? That's how you identify a higher low. I was hoping, and Howard, you'll know about this, I was really hoping we can get this level. Yeah. That would have been Christmas, right? Because it's like if we can get this level, then it's gonna be the trade of the year, and then we're gonna make new highs for sure. But we didn't. We fell short. But we had this like head and shoulders pattern. We closed below. We had a pullback right to. Let me just delete these lines so you can see. I don't have to draw the. Sorry, I just want to delete all these lines. So just a little bit cleaner. And then so many lines and head and shoulders. Okay. Okay, I don't delete. All right. So that was the head and shoulders pattern, right? We got the close below, and then do you trade it when it breaks below? No, head and shoulders. I mean, there's always like wicks and things like that. So you want to get a pullback. So the entry was basically based off this. Let me show you exactly where the entry was. This diagonal line there. Not like that. Like that. Okay. So this happened on, just trying to zoom in here. This was on last week Friday. Last week Friday, we got that rejection of that. Oh no, sorry, that was not last week Friday. This diagonal line, yeah, because that one didn't form yet. I'm sorry. This was the level we were looking at. Okay, so then we got, and it does look different on this chart. Maybe I'll go to the 1 hour. Oh my goodness, I'm trying also. I'll get better, I promise.
Yeah, takes a while.
Oh, what have I done now?
Oh,
what's the RSI doing there? How do I get rid of that?
Can you click on the indicator and just delete the indicator?
Remove indicators. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Okay, so this diagonal line, yeah, thanks, Howard. I did it again. Okay, it was this one, yeah. I'm really sorry about this. Okay, this diagonal line, yeah. Let me just do it again. Okay, yeah, yes, okay. That was the one at the time, because remember, we didn't have this price action. We only had this. So you had the head and shoulders pattern. You get it close below here. You pull back. You're looking for an area to enter. Draw your FIB levels and look for other levels of resistance. And it came right off this diagonal line. And this was on Friday. And on the Monday morning, we gapped lower. We filled the gap during the London session. And then we had a beautiful drop here, right? So I'm like, all right, it's all in play. But it kind of, there was another support level here. I would be in a session when this happened. I can't
Which
remember.
one?
But anyway,
No.
it was we had a retest. This came off a support level on the 4-hour time frame. So we had a retest here, and this is actually where I added a position, right? I added the position there, a second one here, and it went lower, but then it closed back above that support level, which was, well, resistance because it's coming from below. And that's where I just closed the position. And then from there, it changed. But anyway, the point was just confluence. Oh, God. Sorry, all these.
That was a nice,
like,
that was quite a nice little downtrend line.
Yeah, it was really nice. Well, I was expecting it to like, because you had, like, there was a lot of confluence, because just right above this head and shoulders pattern right there, that's the weekly resistance area.
Yeah.
So you had the head and shoulders pattern, you get it close below, get a pullback right onto that diagonal line, you get it close below this support level, you get a retest. It was just busy playing out like textbook style.
Yeah, that's. I think that's when the so-called retail guys come in and sell the hell out of it. You've got the head and shoulder confirmed.
Probably, yeah. So, but anyway, I got out right there, and we were back above there. But at the same time, what we formed there was this pivot, right? This higher low. So I didn't get my ideal high. The ideal low. We got this. That's the low high, but you're also getting inverse head and shoulders pattern over here.
Interesting how the consolidation after that rebound from the low settled above the neckline of that broken of the head and shoulders top. So there was no way out for the sellers, kind of thing.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, we also, just to add to the confluence, you have this, right? This is on the 4-hour. This is not on the shorter term one to identify the entry for the head and shoulders pattern. This is just this diagonal line. 3 touches, it came back lower, but then we broke it, and that is the resistance area we've been watching. Right? This is the area, and as soon as you break this and you hold above it, this head and shoulders pattern is completely invalidated. Okay, so now you've got a lot of confluence in the opposite direction. You've got the higher low, you've got the inverse head and shoulders pattern. You broke the high, this lower high of this diagonal line, plus the high itself. Yes, you got the retest, all of it. So this is gonna the probabilities. I know this is I've gone a little bit off track with all the lines I had to delete and so on. The point I'm trying to make is, if you go back to the 15-minute time frame, right. Then why can't I? Where's that gone? Okay. Anyway, but having shown you all of that stuff, so it's not just the double bottom and you have a high here. It's all the confluences that's coming from multiple time frames, multiple, the probability stacking probability stacking. There's very little chance. I'm not saying it's impossible. Of course, it can happen, but in terms of probabilities, it's way more likely to break that high instead of doing the opposite. You've got nothing in your favor for that when you look at the multiple time frames. So you've asked this question at 6 past. I'm done now. That took 12 minutes. Andre, hope you enjoyed that. All right. So,
very good, very good. On my side, the crude has broken yesterday's low, which is always a good sign. Let's just have a quick present.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the daily shaping up now. So there's yesterday's rejection from ahead of the key resistance, and today we've now broken through yesterday's low. So a good sign. Early days yet, but for me, looking for a crack at this level, the reaction low, and then that really says we're heading back down once we can break and close below this level. But short term, I'll be looking to take some profits on the approach to this low, but then looking to run the rest on them for a breakdown. So let's see how we go.
That's pretty good. What is the just out of curiosity, Howard? Like, since we've got some time, like, what is the monthly time frame look on crude? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so that's your weekly. So let's give it a monthly. So so there's your descending triangle that's broken. And yeah, it's literally a very weak kind of corrective bounce on the candles after a strong down month. So that would be a nice kind of, next month we start to go.
Start to take up those lows. That'd be beautiful.
So my Floki trade is breaking out.
Oh, nice. Let's have a look.
No, let's not. I'm just kidding. Let's have a look.
Already pressed buy. Yeah,
here we go. So
just closed my trade.
Come on, you can do it. Come on.
So yeah, we've got a breakout now, as we established. Look, you could trade this. You could obviously, forget the market weather, you could obviously wait for a candle body close on whatever your predetermined assessment breakout time frame should be, and you would assess, what the candle body closes are based just having a bit of an assessment previously on some ambiguity. But for me, the hourly, usually we get a candle body close above the hourly, then you can try and enter as close to support if you want to. But we've just established, of course, that Bitcoin has a potential for some serious volatility in either direction. But first thing you want to do is look for it to break this previous high, which it seems to be doing in the process. And just once it's, if it continues on its way, the ideal thing is just to wait for a retest. So this is probably a trade tomorrow, maybe, depending on what happens tomorrow, the day after. So have this in your back pocket. But, if Bitcoin was a bit lower and it was at local support, maybe 100K, then you could hard buy the breakout here, probably, because it's a good setup. However, because of where Bitcoin is, you've got to adjust your strategy. And this, of course, is the whole game. So maybe you're talking about Floki tomorrow and see if we can enter a trade then. And just to check with what Bitcoin's doing, this is all-time highs. This is a 15-minute chart. We're very uncomfortable on the 15-minute chart. It's a very scary environment. All these candles just popping up left, right, and center randomly. So again, we popped a head above. We had another go, but we haven't managed to surpass where we were, which was 109,500 spot on. So this is what we need to be paying attention to. But let's just see how XRP is still responding. Yeah, it's still just waiting to see what happens. But for me, this is the chart I'll be looking at for XRP. This is the line I need to hold, and I've been paying attention to this chart. And then if I see a break below this diagonal line or a loss of these moving averages, then I'll look to exit. But so far, as long as the price action is on the right side of this line, I'm staying in the trade, unless I see Bitcoin doing something a little bit crazy, and then I might move my stop loss to break even as well. But I need a little bit more air first. But yeah, so that's playing out at least.
That's nice.
But yeah, just touching base. We'll
Nice.
talk more about it tomorrow.
Yeah, we can have a look at that tomorrow. So you look, how long do you typically leave a trade open? I suppose it depends, right? It just depends on how quickly it moves and all of that. But on average,
well,
like
look, if it's like a short-term leverage trade, which for me is a couple of days, 2 or 3 days. But it depends. These things fulfill quite quickly, right? Sometimes you'll have Paul continues the rotation in stock markets such as Europe and Latin America, taking money out of the US and just what? So I just got distracted by that comment. Forgive me, everyone. Andre's just put, Paul continues the rotation in stock markets such as Europe and Latin America, taking money out of the US and distributing it to other stock markets, the dollars. A little bit confused, Andre. Anyone translate that for me? It's probably
well, it basically says you Julius Caesar. I think it's something along those lines. Yeah,
I don't have to take that. Thanks.
No.
I do look at yoga.
Definitely a compliment. Yeah, no.
Okay.
This book's written about him.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
The salads are all right. Anyway, so what we talked about. Yeah, so typically 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
But I'll have if with the right short setup or whatever, I've had trades where I've put them on, I've popped to the post office, my alert's gone off, and I've had to run home to lock in some crazy profits because it's gone in the right direction. So 2 to 3 days for me for sure. But typically, I'm not adverse to exiting prematurely for sure, because for me, you never lose if you take profits. You never lose. And even though
that's true,
we all plan our take profits and our stop losses and these areas, but there's 2 people. There is the traders which will be nervous and anxious, won't plan properly, and then they'll be entering their trades randomly because of their emotional state. Now, I will exit a trade prematurely based on what the TA is giving us, and with the weather, with Bitcoin dominance, or whatever. So if I feel it's not going to reach it, and there's no point in, and the longer I leave it, the more the probabilities are going to go against me, then I'll probably just break even or get out where I can. But it's obviously a negotiation, and with crypto, possibly a slightly more complicated negotiation from trade to trade.
Andre just asked a question. Dollar continues to weaken. Is it a one-off or is it here to stay? It's here to stay for the longer term, all right? But that doesn't mean straight line, right? Obviously, you'll have pullbacks, and there'll probably be opportunities to short the pound, US dollar, and other dollar-related currencies. But over the long term, definitely dollar weakness, in my opinion. What's your take on that, Howard?
Totally. Yeah, I've been a bit of a dollar bear since I think February, and yeah, we're in an acceleration phase on the charts, and the dollar index that we were looking at earlier, Jannie, that we broke through that big support, and we just had a kind of an attempted bounce from it, and now we're the sellers are coming back in. So I think we could start to see some acceleration on the dollar on a multi-week, multi-month time frame. And I do like to throw this one in as well. In addition to the technicals, the fact that we've got a Republican administration in power. You go back to Nixon, typically Republican administrations see a double-digit decline in the dollar, and Democratic vice versa. Not saying it's a good or a bad thing, but
that's
just a historical trend, right?
That's for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so why do we think that is? Because that's quite interesting. Because there are obviously, I mean, without delving in, I've heard you talk about this before, and it's difficult to disagree. I'm like, well, why do you think that is?
Yeah, it could be they like the idea of a competitive devaluation. Could be something like that.
Yeah, I could probably dig into that a bit deeper, because that's really an interesting insight. But obviously, I think, I mean, a Reagan administration is very different to a Bush administration as well. So it'd be interesting to kind of see what the underlying ideology is behind the approach to the economies and see. So I might dig into that, but I might need your help, Howard, because you're more of an expert. So. Absolutely.
But for whatever reason, I don't know whether the Democrats are a bit more kind of better with the finances than the Republicans. I don't know. Maybe that could be the thing. Trade deficits and surpluses and current account deficits and surpluses, all the rest of it. I don't know, but for whatever reason, it just seems to be in the way since Nixon, released the dollar from the gold peg.
Yeah. When's this 90-day pause? Not on China, on the rest of the world, because there's been a 90-day pause on the tariff side of things, right? No, I think more than a month has gone by since then. Like I think 6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks, something like that. I can't remember.
I think this is perhaps less atomic clock and more, the kettle's boiled. You know what I mean? I think it's very difficult to because things are changing, because we've had pauses, we've had starts and stops. So I think maybe in different circumstances, if a 90-day pause has been announced, then we can follow it with confidence. But I think obviously there's a lot going on. They're trying to make a lot of changes, and I think they're going to be flexible, and therefore I think we need to be perhaps with that as well.
Yeah. Andre says, I'm drinking rum, and Paul's drinking cappuccino. Caipirinha. What's Howard drinking?
I just want to clarify.
I'm saying coffee, but you never know what's in there, really.
This is a terrible glass, but I assure you, it's more urine sample than alcohol. So it's
wow.
Everything's fine.
Lots of cachaça in there.
Yeah, it's all very healthy. Lots of different things, but definitely not drinking.
Borehole water, like that green juice kind of stuff. It looks like borehole water.
Well, there's a lot of stuff in there. There's a bit of cranberry mixed in with a bit of blueberry, with a bit of guava. So there's a lot of stuff in there, but
healthy.
No, you don't want me drinking on a live stream.
And 4 teaspoons of sugar, just to kind of.
No. I gave up that type of sugar a long time ago. You probably can't tell by looking at me, but yeah, I try and be healthy.
Coffee with Irish
Oh, he
coffee.
pushed you out,
Irish
Howard. He's discovered you.
Oh, nice.
I'm
I
on the
think
Irish
actually-
coffee.
Have you ever had coffee with whiskey?
I have
I've
actually.
had
Yeah. It's not bad. It's not bad.
All right. Well, guys, Howard, you're probably going to have yourself a whiskey or another. You're going to pour yourself another
one.
coffee and whiskey.
Never.
Okay, but our time is up. Andre, I'm not sure if he's still watching. Sorry, Robert. But yeah, our time is up. Yeah, everybody watching, thanks for watching. Howard, Paul, it was great to see you guys today. Have a great evening and
Enjoy.
Yeah, take care. The next session starts in half an hour from now. So from us, good evening, safe trading. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.